Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome back to Phalantus Plays. Today is a little bit of a different day. We are going to look at the Lake of Kalandra reveal trailer and live stream. So we're going to find out all about our new expansion today that we'll be playing. And after that, I'm going to take a look at the patch notes, see what's if anything that we want to do is really affected. Other than that, after that, we'll maybe chill out a little bit, play around with some more of our builds. Maybe we'll do some leveling. I'm not sure. We'll see how long all this takes. So, without further ado, let's watch this new trailer. No, not theater mode. Full screen. There we go.
Exile, you have wandered far to arrive at the shores of my lake.
Yeah, this is all we've
A
seen
hidden
before.
realm I have
Right?
overseen
No,
for
no,
longer than
this is not
time
new.
itself.
Ah. Oh, it looks like we get like a new
These
area.
waters harbor deadly secrets.
We get a Lake of Kalandra area. I like the basalt pillar look. That's pretty cool.
Rayclast is reflected here.
What is that?
Reassemble it as you see fit. But the mirror distorts reality. Beware the image that strikes back.
Kalandra challenge. I'm so confused. Atlas Memories. Oh, 4 new skills, 14 new uniques. Wow, that's quite a few. Trickster Ascendancy, that was definitely needed to be done. Arch Nemesis done, rework, Harvest rework, okay, Beyond rework. They're doing a lot of
Life
reworks.
calls you, Exile. Will you endure? Or will you drown?
Yeah, they're really trying to get everything set up, I think, for Path of Exile 2. That's why they're doing all these reworks. They're trying to get all the kinks taken out of the system. Alright, let's see.
In
What
the
are the
Kalandra
details?
Challenge League, you will travel to the mirrored lake that granted Kalandra her powers of reflection. We want you to experience the story for yourself, so I'll avoid spoiling the details here.
Okay.
When you get to explore the league next week, you'll find out more about Kalandra and her motivations.
Okay.
Your experience with Kalandra so far is probably of her coveted mirror, which duplicates items by reflecting them.
Yes, I've never
The lake
gotten that.
itself has the power to reflect entire encounters from elsewhere in Rayclast. As you explore the lake, these reflections emerge from its mirrored surface. Sometimes these reflections are encounters with hordes of monsters,
Okay.
and sometimes you'll encounter extremely powerful foes, reflected from elsewhere in Rayclast.
Interesting.
Often, reflections involve League content, such as this encounter with a Harbinger boss. As you play through the League, you'll occasionally encounter a set of columns protruding from the ground, with
That's
a
gonna
mirrored
be hard
tablet
to
on
see,
top.
But yeah, that's
This
interesting.
tablet invites you to construct a custom set of encounters at the Lake of Kalandra, offering a series of different reflections to place in whatever layout you wish.
That's pretty
Each
cool.
of these reflections represents an encounter that you must defeat when you next travel to the lake.
So build
Once you
your
have
own
assigned a
map.
reflection to every location on your mirror tablet, which will take a few areas, you can open a portal to the Lake of Kalandra itself.
Oh, okay, right in the
There
area.
you will get to experience these reflections of Rayclast as Kalandra manifests each encounter you have chosen.
Interesting.
But as you push farther out onto the
Oh, wow,
lake-shrouded
you get
waters, you
more-
will find each encounter to be more difficult, but more rewarding. This difficulty value counts up by 1 for each location away from the entrance the encounter is.
Okay. But what's the difficulty?
Players wanting the best rewards will try to engineer tablets that have long, windy strings of encounters, reaching very high difficulty values by the end.
Yeah.
To do this, there are occasional options that can be chosen which allow you to move and swap the entrance, reflections, and water tiles on the tablet. Additionally, as you progress through the league, you'll be able to unlock special abilities that let you manipulate the options you have available on each tablet. If you don't like any of the choices available to you, you can earn the ability to skip picking one entirely. The next ability is even stronger. It lets you re-roll the list of options so that you can immediately pick another one. Finally, you can earn the ability to exile a choice entirely. For the rest of this tablet, that choice will no longer appear.
Oh, for the rest of the tablet. Okay.
Once you reach maps, you'll be able to itemize your mirrored tablets so that they don't have to be played immediately. They can be stored for later or traded with other players.
Nice.
As you visit the Lake of Kalandra to attempt your mirrored tablets, there are many types of rewards you can find.
Those are going to be...
An encounter that is based on a past
worth
league
a lot.
implicitly grants the rewards from that league, but with extra juice so that you're not missing out on bonuses you'd have obtained if your Atlas tree applied to the lake.
Okay.
Other encounters that aren't based on past leagues generally yield a reward chest that rises out of the lake when you complete the encounter. Certain reflections grant you access to a new variation on rare items, exclusive to the Kalandra Challenge League. When you complete the encounter, you'll get access to some reflecting mist, which presents you with a difficult choice. It generates a rare ring or amulet with an unusual set of mods.
Huh.
Some are very high, and some are very negative, which hurt your character.
Huh.
The item is then duplicated, with a reflected copy having inverse mods. Negative ones are now positive and vice versa.
That's interesting.
The amount that all of these mods are scaled up by is based on the difficulty of the encounter you just completed.
Okay.
You may only pick one of these items to keep. It'll often be a tough choice, with each item having its own strong pros and cons. But sometimes, you'll be offered an item where the negative mods aren't downsides for your build, and
Yeah.
the juiced up positive mods are very attractive.
The
There are
problem
also
is
some
that
special
they're
new jewelry base
random,
types
right?
that you can rarely receive from this process.
And they're both mirrored.
One rare and difficult encounter rewards you with an advanced version of this crafting process. It allows you to bring your own ring or amulet, distorting and reflecting it with the same process described before. The mods are scaled up in value and some are randomly negated.
Oh,
The
that's where the
reflected copy has
crafting
the
is gonna
inverse
come
set of
into
negations.
place.
It will certainly be tempting to gamble with some of your best jewelry to try
Yeah.
to double the values that really matter for your build and negate the
Yeah.
ones you don't care about.
Might actually be good to do
If
during
you're very
maps,
lucky,
right?
you may find a special League-exclusive unique ring at the lake. Kalandra's Touch mirrors the effect of your other ring.
Cool.
The Kalandra Challenge League has something for everyone. It's an out-of-area combat league where you build your own sequences of encounters. It lets you fully dictate your desired level of risk and reward and fully customize what content you play. It features a powerful crafting system, valuable rewards, and offers a glimpse into the lore of one of Path of Exile's most iconic characters. We can't wait to play it with you next week.
Yeah, we'll see about the rewards. That's always the thing, are the rewards
In
good
every
enough?
expansion leading up to Path of Exile 2's release, we'll be improving Path of Exile's endgame with new content to explore and new ways to customize your endgame experience.
Okay, how is that
In the Lake
working
of
out this
Kalandra
time?
expansion, we're introducing Atlas Memories. They aren't a League feature, they're part of the core game, affecting
Oh.
standard and persisting once the Kalandra League has ended.
Ooh.
In maps, you'll very rarely find a memory item, which represents a set of memories that an NPC has about their past. Something special happened to them while exploring maps, and you're able to experience those events for yourself.
Okay.
Let's have a look at a couple of examples. In this Atlas memory, Kirik tells you about the time that he stumbled across a staging ground for a Harbinger invasion of Rayclust.
Oh, cool.
Each successive map you play in the sequence has more and more Harbinger portals and invaders that you must deal with.
Oh, wow. That's pretty awesome.
This is a memory of Nico's, where he entered a sequence of maps that were entirely consumed by permanent breaches, like a Breach Lord's domain.
Wow.
He survived to talk about it, but will you? Right-click a memory and apply it to a completed map on your Atlas. It'll mark out a series of adjacent maps that the Atlas memory will span.
I wonder if you can do whatever one
When you
you
next
want.
talk to the relevant NPC in your hideout, they'll tell you about their recollections and will allow you to start exploring the memory. Each map in the sequence is provided for free by the NPC, and you'll be able to roll it like usual before running it.
Oh, cool.
Because these maps are memories of the NPC, they are not affected by your Atlas tree. However, the content is generally as difficult and rewarding as a fully specialized Atlas tree would cause it to be.
Okay, yeah, again, we'll see about that. Probably. They've been pretty good with
Each
rewards
successive
the
map
last
in the
few
sequence
weeks.
gets harder and more rewarding as the memories intensify. While memories are tradable, they're also very rare and valuable, so you'll probably want to complete them yourself if you can.
It's gonna be like
For players who love lore, Atlas memories help expand on the backstory
What's
of key
that?
NPCs. For players wanting to try out
delirium.
different league mechanics at quite high levels of juice that they haven't specialized their Atlas for, memories let them do this without a bunch of respecking. And for everyone else, Atlas memories are a great way to earn some valuable items, if you're strong enough to complete them. The Lake of Kalandra expansion also contains a new unique map that I'm quite excited about.
Okay.
The Trial Master is back. This boss from Ultimatum, and more importantly, the unique items he drops, have been sorely missed and will be making a return as the Tower of Ordeals unique map.
I've
in
missed
Lake of
this
Kalandra.
league and everybody keeps
This
talking
map
about
can be
it, so I'm
created by
excited about
completing
this.
difficult endgame Val content. We have not forgotten about the rest of Ultimatum and have a specific plan for how it will return in the future.
Okay.
Whenever we're improving Path of Exile's endgame, we take every opportunity we can to add new variations of rewards that you can find. We don't want to say too much about how these are acquired, but in this expansion, it's possible to very rarely find special foil versions of any pinnacle boss unique item. These have the same stats as regular ones, but are certain to be highly prized by collectors or wealthy players wanting to show off.
Okay. Interesting.
The Lake of Kalandra expansion contains 14 new unique items. In addition to the Kalandra's Touch ring that is exclusive to the Kalandra Challenge League, we have introduced a new endgame pinnacle boss reward, a supporter unique, the Tower of Ordeals unique map, 6 new Grand Spectrum
that
jewels,
helmet looks
and even
awesome.
some leveling uniques. The first we're showing you
Samurai
today
helmet.
is Soul Ascension, a pair of gloves designed by Zizaran. They drop from the Uber Elder. Soul Eater is a very powerful buff, but it is usually hard to obtain in boss fights. This unique grants you the ability to gain stacks of Soul Eater when you hit a unique enemy, but also makes you lose those stacks if you aren't near one. Ghost Wraith is a leveling unique which allows you to play as an almost pure energy shield character during early parts of the campaign.
That's nice.
We'll reveal the other new unique items in this expansion over the next week.
Okay.
Path of Exile has a lot of unique items in its core drop pool, over 700 in fact. We feel that there are 2 big problems with unique items at the moment. The first is that you find too many, and the second is that they are generally pretty useless when you do.
Yeah.
Sure, there are some powerful endgame or build-enabling uniques that feel amazing to find, but the majority of unique items found throughout the game are rarely actually useful to you.
Yeah, except for leveling.
In the Lake of
basically.
Kalandra expansion, we have made a lot of changes here. We have reduced the overall drop rate of uniques throughout the game and have rebalanced and overhauled over 100 existing unique items, with an emphasis on uniques in the core drop pool, including
Okay.
leveling uniques and some endgame uniques.
Okay.
You're going to find unique items less frequently now, but when you do, they're going to be a lot more punchy.
That'll be nice.
Nectar's Lantern has been completely changed from the ground up. Previously, it was trying to allow you to play a hybrid attacker and spellcaster, but it didn't really work very well. With the new design, it's a lot more elegant
Battle
and delivers
Mage.
on this
I don't know
goal
what
by
Battle
simply
Mage
granting
is.
high damage and the Battle Mage effect, so that your weapon damage is added to your spells.
Oh, that's good. Wow.
Thousand Ribbons is an example of an item where we merely needed to tweak values on the existing mods to make it a lot better. We want mod value rolls to matter more, and this item now showcases that well.
Yeah, I can roll up to 30% on resists. That's nice.
If you find a high rolled one early on, you're probably not replacing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Malachai's Simula was trying to deliver the Blood Mage fantasy by allowing you to spend life to cast your spells. This was meant to be special because the Blood
20%
Magic keystone
chance
is
to
far
go
away
with
from the
damage.
Witch starting
That's nice.
location on the skill tree. Unfortunately, this item wasn't really powerful enough to justify its use. It has now been overhauled, and alongside Blood Magic, it grants a powerful multiplicative damage boost. With over 100 uniques rebalanced in this way, your play experience is now punctuated by quite large bursts of power when you find one. We'll continue to examine the power level and rarity of more unique items in subsequent expansions.
Cool, so this is going to be an ongoing thing. That's nice.
The Lake of Kalandra expansion includes 3 new skill gems and 1 new support gem.
Oh, what's the support one?
Alchemist's Mark is a new mark skill. Igniting or poisoning the marked target creates burning or caustic ground underneath them, based on the damage of the strongest ignite or poison on the enemy. The damage of the ground effects also scales with Curse and Mark effect, providing a non-standard way to scale your build's damage. Hitting the marked target also refills some of your flask charges. This new skill opens up an extra source of damage for ignite or poison-focused characters, especially for ignite builds that want an alternative to Flame Surge, or poison builds that cause fewer, higher damage poisons. This high-level build uses Flame Blast, with 100% of the damage converted to Chaos, to inflict huge poisons on enemies. When Alchemist's Mark is cast on an enemy first, that enemy drops Caustic Ground when it's poisoned, scaled by those big Flame Blast poison hits, melting everything into a puddle.
That might be good.
Galvanic Field is a new shock-themed spell. When used, you gain a buff, granting a small bonus chance to shock. When you next shock an enemy, the buff is consumed and the enemy becomes energized, repeatedly zapping themselves and nearby targets, a lot like Ball Lightning. If the energized enemy dies, then the energy sits at their location and continues to zap things.
Maybe good for maps?
Galvanic Field's area of effect and zap damage scale with the strength of the shock on the target. While Galvanic Field is great for any build that shocks, you can even fully build around it, and use a skill with increased shock effectiveness like Arc to shock enemies and kill them with a ball of death. Lightning Conduit is another new shock-themed spell. A wave propagates out from the target location, causing lightning bolts to strike all shocked enemies in a large area. The damage is scaled by the strength of the shock on each enemy. Lightning Conduit cannot itself shock and won't hit non-shocked enemies at all, so the challenge with this skill is to find a way to consistently apply powerful shocks to your targets to make the most of Lightning Conduit's high damage potential and area of effect.
That might be good for leveling also.
This high-level build uses Wave of Conviction to shock enemies, before casting Lightning Conduit until they're obliterated. For longer fights, it can employ Galvanic Field to create a constant source of lightning damage. Last but not least, Overcharge Support is a new support gem that causes supported skills to deal less damage, but makes them inflict much stronger shocks and grants them a higher chance to shock.
Oh, okay, so they're doing a bunch of
Overcharge lets many different lightning skills create powerful shocks. Use this to take advantage of Shock's large damage multiplier, or to activate Lightning Conduit and Galvanic Field.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd have to look at the numbers on those and see.
As Path of Exile expands, we often revisit previous leagues, reworking them so they stay relevant and engaging. In Lake of Kalandra, we are targeting 3 such leagues: Arch Nemesis, Beyond, and Harvest.
For leveling.
The larger context here is that we've been re-examining what role rare and magic monsters have in Path of Exile. The introduction of Arch Nemesis modifiers as the monster mod pool prompted quite a lot of discussion about how often you should encounter rare and magic monsters, how difficult they should be to kill, and how rewarding their death should be.
Mad.
Previously, League content made fights hard by spawning a lot of rare monsters. A whole lot. In some cases 6 to 8 times the normal rate of rare monsters. Now that we have better mods available to make fights against rare monsters individually challenging, we have gone through the whole game and normalized the rate that rare monsters are spawned at. Some leagues had quite large reductions in spawn rate. You won't encounter situations with dozens of rare monsters on screen at once anymore. Alongside this reduction of how many rare monsters you'll face, we have improved their rewards and made sure that they scale with both difficulty of the encounter and any item rarity or quantity bonuses that you have.
Okay, that's good.
During the campaign, you'll only encounter 1 and 2 mod rare monsters. The 2 mod encounters are a bit harder and have better drops.
That's good.
In maps, you'll stop encountering 1 mod rare monsters entirely, and will mostly encounter 2 and 3 mod rare monsters. It'll also be possible to encounter 4 mod rare monsters again. Not only are the innate item drop bonuses scaled up significantly on monsters with many mods, but we have made these challenging encounters rewarding in another way too.
How's that?
About a third of the more powerful Arch Nemesis modifiers now use a special reward conversion system. For example, if you defeat a monster with a Corruptor mod, all of its drops become corrupted.
Interesting.
The Solaris Touched mod converts all of its item drops to maps.
Oh, cool.
The Katava Touch mod will cause the rarity of its drops to be upgraded by 1 tier, so magic becomes rare, rare becomes unique, and so on.
Oh.
If you're lucky, you can find these conversion modifiers on both the 3rd and 4th mod of a rare monster.
That's
This
cool.
causes them to stack together. So if you kill a 4-mod rare monster with both the Entangler and Katava Touched mods on it, its heavily juiced drops will also be converted to jewels with their rarity upgraded by a tier.
Wow.
Due to the high amount of inherent item rarity that 4-mod rare monsters have, this may result in several unique jewels dropping.
That's awesome.
This conversion system is fully compatible with your item rarity and quantity bonuses, as well as the drop bonuses from all other Arch Nemesis mods.
That's pretty
Going
cool.
forward, we want to make sure that a lot more item reward mechanics scale with your character item bonuses.
Yeah,
Get your Magic Find characters ready. As a result of this system, when you do encounter a rare monster with many Arch Nemesis mods, you are well rewarded for the difficult fight.
That's good. Wow, okay. Yeah, that's better.
We have also been listening to feedback about the Arch Nemesis mods that can spawn on magic monsters. Too many of them had external visual clarity issues, like on-death effects. We have toned these down on magic monsters so that more of them are stat-based bonuses that aren't so spammy. Encounters that spawn a series of magic monsters now make sure to preserve the same Arch Nemesis modifiers between the monsters rather than rolling a different one for each monster.
Okay, that's good, because they could kind of
This will
stack
further help
sometimes.
keep the game state understandable in hectic situations.
Yeah.
Beyond was introduced in August 2014, initially as a hardcore-only challenge league. It's 8 years old now and certainly has several issues. Firstly, the art. Have you ever really taken a close look at a Beyond demon? It is literally a bandit from Act 2, dunked in red paint. The second issue is its balance. The number of magic and rare monsters spawned is so much higher than the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And whatever problems that resulted in before are magnified now that rare monsters are meant to be more difficult.
Yeah, with the Arch Nemesis.
Beyond also spawns way too many unique bosses, which causes its own set of issues.
Yeah.
In Lake of Kalandra, we have given Beyond much more than a fresh coat of paint. The Scourge have taken over the realm of the Beyond demons.
Oh.
The old bandit Beyond demons are gone. Summoning monsters from Beyond will now summon Scourge monsters and bosses.
Interesting.
We have completely rebalanced the rate that Beyond monsters and bosses spawn at, so that it's appropriate for modern Path of Exile.
So Scourge kind of
The
took
new
over
Beyond
Beyond.
monsters can now occasionally drop the Scourge League's tainted currency items that allow you to
Yes!
modify corrupted items.
Tainted currency is back. Okay.
We've
That's
also
good.
completely revamped how harvest crafting works. Rather than being presented with a selection of crafting options that must be used immediately, you now receive itemized tradable life force of the appropriate color.
Thank goodness.
This life force can be
That's
used later, in your
awesome.
own time, at the horticulture bench in your hideout.
That's
Its crafting options are now priced
amazing.
in terms of this itemized life force currency.
Wow. That,
Tier 4 bosses
can I
are
just
now
say,
encountered much more frequently and can drop a
that one change is going to make it so much more efficient to do anything with Harvest, even if you don't use it to create your own stuff. That one change, by making everything tradable, like you can just do Harvest, kill the monsters, sell the stuff that people need for crafting. Crafters are going to be happy. They're going to have much easier access to all of the stuff that they would ever need to craft things. And people who want to do Harvest for efficiency, for killing some extra monsters and stuff, they're also going to be happy because they can keep the stuff that they want, and then the rest they can sell. So that's a really good change.
key to fight a
That's
Sharpie.
awesome.
She yields special life force which can be used for a specific set of crafts. We have rebalanced all harvest crafts for the new system and have removed a bunch of filler crafts and some ones with deterministic outcomes that were incredibly RNG gated before.
Cool.
Some crafts that provided access to exclusive content, like the special offerings to the goddess, have been removed because these items can now be found in more appropriate locations elsewhere in the game.
Very cool.
The result of these changes is that when you complete a harvest, you aren't presented with 30 crafts which must either be used immediately or unsafely traded to some player you found on a community Discord server.
Yep.
It also means that every bit of life force you receive is going towards a craft that you actually want to use on one of your items, when you're ready to use it. Your interaction with the Sacred Grove is now far simpler as well. Just enter, pick your plots, defeat the monsters, and get on with your mapping.
Yes, exactly. Awesome.
Like with Arch Nemesis and beyond, we have also addressed the monster composition of Harvest's fights, so that it doesn't contain too many rare monster mods, and so that it is of appropriate difficulty for its rewards.
Yeah.
In addition, the rewards for Harvest now scale with map quantity and pack size,
Oh.
incentivizing you to juice your maps.
Nice.
Previously, the crafts you received were not scaled up at all if you
No.
played a harder map.
Yeah.
Last week, we posted this expansion's character balance manifesto, which detailed the many changes we're making in Lake of Kalandra. There are plenty more changes, which we will include in the full patch notes that will be posted after this livestream. But on the
We're gonna
stream,
go
I'd
over
like
that.
to talk about a few specific areas.
Okay.
Minion itemization, Exalted and Divine Orbs, and the Trickster Ascendancy class.
Cool.
Historically, minion builds have not been particularly reliant on the stats of their items. Most of the power of their minions came from their skill and support gems.
Yeah, and
This
the
led to a
passive
few
tree.
problems. Firstly, it gave them a bit of a free ride compared to most other character builds. And secondly, it meant that it was hard for minion players to actually specialize their character to be really, really good. We want to solve both of these problems in this expansion. Path of Exile is a game about items, and that means that you will now be strongly rewarded for finding items that make your minions better. It also means that, like with other builds, if you find good items, you'll be far more damaging and survivable than before.
Okay.
We described a variety of minion changes in last week's Character Balance Manifesto. Today I want to show you the new base item types we have added to help your minion itemization.
This is what I wanted to see, because people were like, it's getting nerfed.
We've added a new ring base type, the
$13
Bone Ring.
resistance.
This ring
okay.
has implicit minion elemental resistances and can roll minion-related modifiers.
See, that's awesome. That's gonna be so awesome.
We've added level 20 and 50 versions of the Convoking Wand, called the Calling Wand and Covening Wand respectively. Like the Convoking Wand, these new base types can roll minion-related modifiers.
Good.
Some new minion-related mods have been added to the pool available to these wands, and some existing mods have been adjusted or made more common. We have repurposed the bone-themed spirit shields so that they have minion damage implicit mods rather than spell damage, and can also roll minion-related mods.
Yeah, see, that's awesome.
Alongside the stable of existing unique items, there's now quite a lot more base type support for minion characters, and good mods on those base types
Minion
can
League?
stack up to
Is it
some
a
pretty
Minion
large
League?
bonuses for your minions. I also wanted to discuss two of the rarest currency items in Path of Exile, Divine Orbs and Exalted Orbs. These actually have the same drop rate, but Exalted Orbs are worth so much more in trade because there's no easy vendor recipe for them, and because they're consumed when you craft certain meta mods onto items. Out of these two currency items, we would actually prefer the Divine Orb effect to be rarer, so that unique items with good rolls matter more, and so that players can exalt craft their items more frequently.
Oh.
We are making two changes that will impact this. Firstly, we are changing the cost of crafting meta mods so that they cost Divine Orbs rather than Exalted Orbs.
What?
Secondly, we are changing the 6-link vendor recipe to grant 20 Orbs of Fusing rather than a Divine Orb.
Oh, what?
This change will result in Exalted Orbs being far more available for crafting, and Divine Orbs less available for re-rolling mods on items. It'll certainly be interesting to see what the de facto trade currency becomes next league.
What?
Next, I'd like to talk about the Trickster Ascendancy class.
Oh
We haven't been happy
my.
with the state of this Ascendancy class recently. While it used to be quite powerful, we moved its defining feature, Ghost Dance, onto the main passive skill tree. Since then, it has had a confused identity and hasn't met the power level of the other Ascendancy classes.
Hold on.
In this
Hold on.
expansion-
Before we get to this, that is gonna mess the crap out of the currencies. It's like, oh my god. Because now basically you have two currencies that people can use. It's not going to make... Oh, I see, because they have it, they're taking the crafting off of... So what do you use the exalts for then? Just slamming, and you can only use exalts for slamming. But the thing is that they're putting it in... Oh, man. They're putting divines into... Oh, that's going to be weird. Because what else are exalts good for? Just slamming and trading, right? But if you can't actually consume them, or exalts are only going to be good for slamming and trading, like storing for currency. But if you can't use them for anything else, and exalt slams, a lot of people are just like, yeah, they don't, you know. Because a lot of times it slams something and it's like just terrible. That's interesting. I think maybe divine is going to be the higher level currency. So if you get divines, yeah, keep them. That's interesting. I didn't know they actually have the same drop rate. Hmm. But it might just be dual. So you guys, so we might just have like we just might be more wealthy just because of this change. Because divines increasing in value and then both having the same drop rate means that you actually get almost twice as much currency.
We have reworked
Interesting.
the Trickster with a focus on establishing thematically appropriate defenses and ways to manipulate speed.
Hmm.
One step ahead allows the Trickster to manipulate time in an interesting way. Enemies are slower than normal and cannot have their action speed raised above this value, such as through an acceleration shrine. Conversely, the Trickster is faster by default and cannot have action speed lowered below this value, effectively making them immune to effects that lower action speed such as freeze, chill, or temporal chains.
Interesting.
Spellbreaker ties together spell suppression and energy shield in a powerful way. Spellbreaker grants some spell suppression chance, which is an effect that reduces damage taken from spells. The skill also starts your energy shield recharge half the time you suppress spells.
Huh.
Since Trickster characters tend to have a high evasion rating, you will be evading some hits and recharging on others, meaning that your energy shield recharge stays active most of the time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Spellbreaker also further improves defenses by reducing the damage you take from suppressed spells while on full energy shield. For those that want a different way to recover energy shield, the powerful Soul Drinker notable passive is no longer exclusive to forbidden jewels from the Uber-Searing Exarch and Eater of Worlds. Any Trickster can now allocate this skill.
Nice.
Polymath provides more bonus damage, life, mana, and energy shield on kill for each different type of mastery you have allocated.
Oh, that's
It
going to be a
reinforces the idea
cool
of a
kill.
trickster being a jack of all trades,
Yeah,
and will lead
that's
to interesting
gonna be
decisions when
awesome.
planning your passive tree, trying to fit in as many different types of masteries
Oh,
as
but it's
possible.
on kill. Hmm.
Overall, the new Trickster is intended to be the Shadow's answer to the Champion, but faster. He should be an exciting option for players who want to get a lot of evasion, energy shield, and recovery out of their Ascendancy class while still being able to melt enemies.
That's
Alongside today's
weird.
livestream, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Knight and Rogue packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points, plus several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available during the Kalandra League and will leave the store forever in 3 months. Every microtransaction you're about to see is entirely cosmetic and does not affect your character's progression or power.
Yep. Standard.
The Knight Pack series contains 6 exclusive microtransactions, including the full Knightmaster armor set. The Aetheric Mana Flask releases a burst of mana upon activation, then draws in energy from the environment as your mana refills.
Oh, it's a flask?
The Hoarder's Stash is a stash skin that can be used in your hideout. As you place items in the stash, they hover above it until you're finished, before being sucked into storage.
Huh. Interesting.
This is the Knightmaster armor set. While wearing its helmet, your actions are periodically duplicated by an ethereal copy of yourself.
Ah, cool.
The Blood-Scouring Cloak absorbs blood as you slay monsters. It tracks your kill streak and cleans itself off when the slaughter ends.
Oh, that's actually kind of useful.
The Ring of the Victor causes a podium to rise up underneath you when you are standing still, elevating you above other players.
Ah, that's funny.
The Warlord's Lieutenant Portal summons a warrior spirit who will greet you, cheer you on, and commend you on your actions.
Oh, I need that emotional support.
The Rogue Pack series has 6 exclusive microtransactions, including the Rogue Stalker armor set. The Beast of Burden Pit visually carries your items for you, becoming more laden with bags and packs the more full your inventory gets.
Ah. Oh, poor dog.
The Collector Serpent Shield covets the treasure you find. Whenever you pick up an item, the serpent darts out to grab it.
Weird.
This is the Rogue Stalker armor set. While wearing its gloves, critical strikes cause blades to appear and slice at your enemies.
Oh, cool, so you can see when you're actually doing critical strikes.
The corpse bloom footprints cause exotic plant growth in your wake. The plants especially love corpses and will seek them out and grow in larger patches around them.
This kind of visual cues can be pretty useful, actually.
On the other hand, the Undertaker's amulet inters corpses for you, burying them and marking their location with gravestones.
Turns them into gravestones. That's nice.
The unstable explosives back attachment is not for the faint of heart. As your life gets lower and lower, it gets closer and closer to exploding. And when you die, your party members will certainly feel it. As I mentioned before, these packs are exclusive to the Kalandra League and will leave the store in 3 months. They're available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase, and they directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1 expansions like Lake of Kalandra. In addition, the supporter packs introduced with the Sentinel expansion are leaving the store forever in 1 week. Now's your last chance to purchase them, and we greatly appreciate your support. Speaking of things leaving the store, the Kerrick's Vault Pass for Sentinel is only available for the next few days also, and will leave the store forever when the League ends. There's no penalty for purchasing the pass late in the League after you've wrapped up your map completion, so if you're pleased with where you got to in maps and Sentinel and want to lock in your unique skins, it's not too late to buy your pass.
All these skin stuff I don't really pay too much attention
Next
to.
up, we've got the Q&A with Ziggy D. Once that ends, we'll post the full patch notes for Lake of Kalandra. Over the next week, our community team will post teasers for new and revamped unique items, upcoming quality of life improvements, and an announcement for the League launch race event.
Okay, wait, should we watch the
On launch
Ziggy
weekend,
D?
we'll be running another set of Twitch drops, and expect to release the new Mystery Box and Kerrick's Vault Pass in the days after launch. Thanks for joining us and checking out today's reveals. We can't wait to see you in Rayclast on August 19th. We'll begin the Q&A in a few moments, so please get your questions ready in chat.
Yeah, maybe we can. I don't know. Let me think. It looks really interesting. This looks like a really fun league, actually, for people to join. I think this is probably a good one for newer players. The league mechanic isn't too complicated, and even if it is, you can sell it, and people will buy it, and it will probably be pretty good money. Everything, like a lot of stuff got itemized. There's a lot of new uniques. So, and then the revamped arch nemesis means if you find the monster to be too hard, you can kind of skip it. But also you can get really good rewards. Revamp Beyond, you get tainted currency, which means all the corrupted stuff is going to be able to be crafted, which is good. And Harvest is finally tradable also. So it's going to be a very good league for making currency, especially because of the change with that they did with Divines and Exalts. So with all the other currency, basically the tradable items that they added with the league content, harvest, and the tainted currencies, plus this divine and exalt change, I think it's going to be a really good league. Yeah. It's gonna be
Had a
fun.
confused
They didn't really address much with a lot of the nerfs, but we'll
identity
take a
and
look
hasn't
at
met them.
the patch notes. Let's see. There was that interview with Ziggy D. Do they have that? What Ziggy D? There we go. There we go.
G'day, folks. Ziggy D here. Welcome back, Exiles.
We'll
Chris, good morning.
make this go a
Hey, good
little
morning.
bit faster.
Excellent to have you back for some Q&A action after some very big announcements. Firstly, though, super exciting news about ExileCon returning next year. It's actually a kind of a, I don't know if it was the same for other people, it was kind of an emotional announcement because that was such a beautiful time for us last ExileCon, and it's been a hard
Okay,
few
so they're
years, I think,
doing
as well.
ExileCon.
So it's kind of extra
what they
hard.
announced.
What led to the decision to organize new ExileCon now?
Well, we've wanted to run another one for a while, and it was unfortunate that immediately after the last one, there was a global pandemic and stuff, and that just made it too difficult to organize events, plus all of the safety issues. But things are looking both a bit safer, and we certainly have a lot of Path of Exile 2 stuff to talk about. And this kind of fits into the overall marketing plan for Path of Exile 2, is that next year is the year that we start to reveal pretty much everything. We're going to go through every game system, we're going to show all the areas, the classes, like, so much has changed since last time we talked about it. Like, it has evolved to be a bigger thing, and we want to talk about that in detail. And so we're going to start the marketing. Everything's going to debut at ExileCon 2023. And it's an opportunity people can play the basically complete game at that stage. We can announce when the beta date's starting. We can go through panels and all things.
Oh, so
And then we
probably
can,
another
kickstart the marketing and show people in other
years or
territories.
something
I
like
think
that.
there's
It's gonna be
Gamescom,
Path of
PAX West,
Exile
and so on,
2.
various other places that we can then take that to after ExileCon.
That gives us a pretty firm-ish timeline for PoE2 then, which is very exciting.
We won't be releasing it before July next year, that's correct.
That's true. We've been holding our breaths, I think, since last ExileCon. And that was like such a huge reveal then, but a lot of what was revealed has kind of leaked its way in game since then. So I imagine that if you've got a whole new ExileCon of stuff to show, then, how much more progress has there been made since then?
Yeah, well, don't get your hopes up. We're not announcing another new sequel. Like, the ability to announce Path of Exile 2 on stage was a surprise that was amazing, but we're not announcing a Path of Exile 3, obviously. This is all about Path of Exile 2 and mobile. And whatever Path of Exile 1 expansion is immediately coming out after
Yeah,
Exile.
the mobile
next
thing
one
is
change.
weird.
I mean, if you want to grab
sure.
some news headlines, just be like, forget about Path of Exile 2. We're going straight to PoE 3. Make headlines. How cold is it in Auckland in July, by the way? That's in winter for you Northern Hemisphere folks.
It's not too bad, actually. I'm in a t-shirt today, right? Like, it's pretty mild. It's not like the frigid suburbs of Melbourne or wherever you guys are. But seriously, for people in the Northern Hemisphere, I understand that your winters involve things like snow. We don't get that here. It's pretty much like 8 to 25 degrees C, depending on what day. Too, as we get basically the PoE2 engine and PoE1 that we can use as we see fit. And so that means when we wanted like surface reflections for the lake, we just found an engineer and said, how hard would this be? And the answer was less than 1 day. And so it's really helpful that we have like a world-class team of graphics engineers working on iterating. Even though we're not using most of the capabilities in PoE1, when we need to, we're definitely able to.
Awesome. Kalandra's such a mythical figure in PoE2 as well, so to do an expansion dedicated to her is a big decision, I guess. But without spoiling too much of her story, of course, because I understand you don't want to spoil too much right now, but how did you arrive at like the theme and flavor for this expansion? Like, it's a lake and she's a bird lake.
We've wanted to explore Kalandra for a while, and this is a perfect opportunity because it both fits the lore that we've built up for her, and also mechanically works really well with the out-of-area builder complicated setting encounters kind of thing. The theme of her or the lake being able to reflect various aspects of Raid class, fitting in with the mirror theme, and also fitting in with the fact that you're choosing encounters, which many of which are League content that players have played before with a bit of a twist on it. It helps kind of justify the fact that you're, fighting breaches and that kind of stuff, not just arbitrarily. It's because she and the lake are intentionally able to actually manifest stuff from elsewhere in Raid class.
Speaking of like this zone building concept, this seems like a pretty natural evolution of Synthesis' custom map building, which I'm very excited to see an expansion on that concept. But you don't need to collect a bunch of physical things this time. How's your approach to designing League content like this changing?
Well, we see this one as similar to Synthesis, similar to Incursion as well, because you're building an area, and we like to think that we've learned from mistakes we made in the past, which may not be the same mistakes that Twitch chat would call out that we'd be making, but we have certainly improved how we're doing it. Also, another aspect here is that the difficulty scaling in this case based on Manhattan distance depth from the origin when you're playing, that is similar to what we were doing with Delirium, where there was difficulty based on distance from origin, and also with Sentinel, where you've got empowerment scores based on a bunch of stuff. So we've learned various ways of juicing up the risk and reward together and using the same kind of math here. But in terms of how we're iterating on these area building leagues, we're trying very hard to not be too micromanagey with this one. You will notice it's relatively easy. You find your mirror tablet, you put some reflections on it, and then you run it. And you can do a little bit of swapping stuff around to try to make the layout a lot better, but that comes at the cost of not putting a reflection on the tablet. And so it in some ways rewards less micromanagement than usual, just getting in there and killing some monsters. But there'll be opportunities, of course, where people can micromanage it a little bit.
Yeah, well, that kind of segues into my next question, was like, how do you balance something like this between people that want to just kind of jump in and run some fun content versus the people who really want to think about it and min-max it and make it super challenging, that sort of thing?
I think you'll find cases where you want to opportunistically improve your tablet. So if you were to sit there just skipping lots of choices, trying very hard to get the things that move stuff around, you take forever to complete a tablet. And maybe you get one that's really cool and worth a lot, but you could have done 2 tablets on the same time. But you'll find situations where you realize if I just swap this entrance location, it juices half the encounters on the tablet by a huge amount, and with one small change, or maybe moving one of the water tiles around to make a really long windy path around it. Those kind of things there will let a person who's thinking about it deeply get a lot of extra value from the tablet. But to be completely honest, the way I'm playing it is slap some reflections on there and then go and struggle to complete them. So yeah, it's only really the skilled players who are the ones who are going to want to be juicing it all the way.
That sounds familiar. How many maps does it take on average to build a mirrored lake at endgame?
So in the endgame, there's approximately 11 or 12 blank tiles to fill in. The tablet size varies a little bit as it gets larger as you progress through. You can normally get about 2 reflections per map, and so that's approximately 5 to 6 areas for each lake tablet that you want to build. So this is about twice as often as Incursion, where you'd be getting an Incursion temple every 11 areas or so. So we've doubled the rate that you're doing that, and these can be saved up. So it's entirely possible to just stack up a giant pile of maps of lakes, in your stash and come back to them later on if you want to. And of course, they're fully tradable. So if you want to run a lot more lakes, you can just buy them from the trade site basically.
That's great. How does the mirrored lake building and running work for co-op?
Well, whenever you find a mirror tablet, everyone in your party gets to improve their tablets. So if you're running through an area together, whenever you get the ability to place a reflection down, everyone can do it on their own tablets. And then at the point that they decide to run the tablet, all the party members can take part in it.
We've already got some questions coming in from chat. Someone asked, how does the edge of the terrain in the mirror of Kalandra area affect things like projectiles like spark bouncing off them and things like that? Can you like shoot over these areas? Is it like a hard invisible wall?
I believe that there is projectile transmissibility over them, so you can fire projectiles without hitting a hard wall. I'll do the ability dev check to confirm that.
Gotcha,
Okay, good. I know what's going on there. There will be some invisible wall fire off into the corners of the lake, but it will not affect your gameplay.
Great. Crowfire asks, does the mirror ring for Kalandra mirror unique rings? Actually, I have my own question about this, so I might as well bring it up then now. How does the mirror of Kalandra ring work when you have a unique ring like Snake Pit, where in the right slot, it adds an extra chain, but then in the left slot it does something else? Does it mirror the right slot effect, or does it mirror what would happen if it was in the left slot?
It's exactly as though you had another copy of that ring equipped. One way to look at it is, imagine you took a mirror of Kalandra and you applied it to the ring and then you equipped that mirror's copy.
Ah, okay, there you go. So probably not worth doing it on unique like that then. But given that it can mirror theoretically the best ring in the game, I guess, so it does work on uniques, but you probably might be better off in some cases.
And it's dynamic as well, of course. You can take it, mirror your ring, mirror a different one, trade it to someone else. It's not locked in like an actual mirror is. But of course, it only works on rings.
That's pretty awesome. Aldersberg asks, are there any Lake of Kalandra mechanics timed? Oh, any of the Lake of Kalandra mechanics timed?
Not that I'm aware of. We tried very hard to not have this be a timed league.
Right.
Are you aware of any that are timed? Yeah, right. Things like Delirium or Breach, where if you pop a Breach open, obviously it's going to close in normal timing, but that league has. There's no specific benefits of going fast apart from everything, is a lot better if you play fast from a rewards point of view. Like the game's already set up, so the fast players achieve more stuff in proportion to their speed.
Nice, I like that. Ariel asks, how big is the lake arena, and will non-tanky characters feel claustrophobic? Or dead?
I recommend having another look at the footage that we showed in the trailer and the live stream. Each basically is broken up into approximately screen-sized arenas for each of the encounters. And so you'll be able to see the rough shape from some of the ones we showed there. There's little walkways that come up between them. So it can be seen as a gigantic grid that can be up to 5x5 in size, where it's roughly square-shaped islands, except that the shape of each one isn't a square. Like it can be a square at most, but obviously there's also stuff missing around the outside to make it.
This idea of like a screen-sized arena after arena after arena of all sorts of different challenges feels kind of gauntlet-y. That's I didn't really think of it like that.
Yeah, honestly, they're a lot of fun to play through. It's quite a cool mechanic.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also really looking forward to the fact that there's new crafting mechanics. You guys have been messing with crafting a lot lately, and I love to see it. The ethereal reflection system looks quite awesome. But you also hinted at some unique bases. Are these separate to the previously announced new minion rings?
Yeah, there's 5 more ring base types that you can get from this league, and basically they crop up in the window when. So there's 2 crafting encounters. The first one will provide you with 2 rings or amulets, and it chooses. And the other one, which is much harder to get and much more valuable, is where you bring your own. And in the one that provides you occasionally, and of course this is the kind of thing that's proportional to difficulty, like you want to be encountering this in harder encounters. This in proportion to difficulty will occasionally one of these new base types.
One that you bring your own is going to be best.
You should always look at the announcement page that we make, arthurmixel.com/Kalandra, because we like to hide away things like hovers for the base types and stuff there. So there's lots of extra information and cool things people can see, more screenshots of the stuff, including one of those actual rings, so you can see what it does.
Are you doing any more like secret hidden things on those pages? Like you did that one time, I think it was with Scourge or something?
No comment.
I like that.
I did actually have to get the team to remove a secret hidden thing from the page that was too secret. Played so that game.
Gosh, too secret, okay. Are there any new rare modifiers, or is this mostly about scaling mods beyond their regular power levels? Like we saw 105 strength on a ring, for example.
Other than the implicits on those new ring base types, of which there are 5 sets, there are no new rare modifiers that spawn on the items, and that's mostly because getting things like +2 skills and more than 100 life on rings and amulets is pretty bonkers. So if the dream here is that you get one where the drawbacks, like let's say you're playing a resolute technique character and you don't care about crit, and you also get like some damage over time stuff, and those things are reduced. You weren't using them in the first place, you were playing some other build, and everything else is juiced up to more than double what it initially was. So you can definitely get some really blindingly powerful rings and amulets. And the other thing is you actually get, because you get a choice of 2, you kind of get 2 shots at it. Like if you're unlucky and the wrong things are picked, they may have also been positive on the other side.
Yeah, that's gonna be some big gambles. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah,
we know ahead of time if you'll be seeing the ethereal reflecting mist, which is the one that lets you bring your own version to craft, or will there just be a stash available there for when you need crafting mechanics like this?
So that one's only available in mirror tablets that are assembled from maps, like in the end game. And because of that, the tablets are itemized, and it's always there for the encounter that has it. And so basically, you will be able to see on a tablet that you're about to run, or one you're trading for, that it has that. And this means you can either know in advance that it's there, which probably means that tablet commands a higher premium in trade unless you bring an item in, or because you've got your 6 map portals, if you completely forget and you run into this encounter, you can at worst go out using a portal and come back in with the item you need.
Okay, great. The fact that ahead of time, I think, so defensibility that.
Well, you can YOLO miss one of your current items potentially, just like a gamble on your current amulet and see what happens.
Oh, no, I don't advise that. Can you mirror an already mirrored unique like a ring or amulet?
No, we had a look, and like with recombinators, we wanted to allow crazy, where you can do, well, you've seen what recombinators can do. But we had a look here because this is already doing quite crazy stuff with items, and we had to disallow working on mirrored items and influenced items and corrupted items and synthesized jewelry. A lot of cases it would have been totally nuts. Having said that, it can still do some broken stuff with just general rares from the game, like the ability to double half the mods is
okay. So it's not there's quite a few things that I wonder if it can do fractures.
And there was a new oil to anoint mirrored items. Since we're getting so many this league, you're like, oh, I didn't oil it first. Is that like super rare, or is that pretty accessible?
It's roughly as available as a tainted oil, but you don't need to complete corrupted blighted maps. You can just get it from regular blighted maps. Because the intention here is that now that there's a lot of mirrored amulets floating around from this crafting system, you don't feel like you're missing out on an anointment by using one of those.
Ala asks, is there a plan for the quarry or glacier run to the tablet mirror and not kill monsters? This is like quarry farming mirror. How does the mirror spawn? Like the tablet spawn, I should say.
My understanding is that the mirror tablet does not spawn if you're massively over level for the area, which is what we've done for years with this kind of stuff. That may mean that you can essentially assemble pre-map tablets, right? I'm not sure of the exact, like how punitive we've come down on that, but they won't have the various reflections that can occur in map content. So by playing pre-map ones, you can't itemize them, you have to run them on the spot, because to stress map and above tablets are itemizable, campaign ones have to be played as you complete them. So it's not a good way of farming for trade value that way. Having said that, you may be able to still run quite a lot of tablets just for the regular rewards from them.
Yeah, we've mostly seen low-level farming methods like that pay out when the mechanic rewards a lot of generic currency. Do you think that'd be the case here, or?
I mean, the encounters are rewards, of course, but the rewards are generally themed around the type of content it is, right? Like if you're playing a breach encounter, you're getting splinters and that kind of stuff as your reward from that, which of course is, fungible with generic currency. You can certainly trade that. But my advice would be just push onto maps and actually play properly, and you'll get plenty of tablets. Like we're not in a map starvation kind of system at the moment. Like you've got drifts of white maps to play if you really want an easy encounter.
Yeah.
Speaking of mapping, let's talk about some endgame improvements, in particular the Atlas memory system. What sort of goals did you have with this new system? They seem like they would help with both pacing of the endgame mapping, but also creation of like a story thread to follow between chunks of maps. But not much
Yeah,
else
the,
is happening
the
potentially.
Atlas memory stuff is really cool, actually. Like, I'm low-key as excited for this as I am for the actual league itself. It's just that because they're quite endgame and, moderately rare, it's something that only, people that actually get into red maps and stuff will be interacting with, so it's not quite as broadly applicable as the league.
Okay,
I think what
so
it
it's
is, we promised
mostly
that
red
every
map
expansion we're doing on
stuff.
Path of Exile 2, we're going to try to make some improvement to the endgame. And so this is an alternate way of playing through content you're familiar with, but with a twist. And we've designed these to be fun, rewarding, and kind of crazy. Like, we're low-key hoping that certain team members don't actually check these out before release, so we can release them in a really punchy way, because I get the feeling that the fun police may try to turn a few of them down. So an example was I was playing one yesterday where I was asked, can you please try this one and let me know if you think it's over the top? And I join that one. And the theme of it is that there are gangs of rogue exiles that you find like in roaming packs that are trying to hunt you down. And the map I played had 100 rogue exiles in it. Now I can't promise it's going to release with that number, but it was certainly nuts. And so I kind of want to emphasize these aren't incredibly common in maps, right? Like you do have to play a bunch of maps to find one. And because there are a bunch of different types of them individually, it's hard to actually get the one you want. And so because of that, we can just go a bit overboard with the rewards. Like we can do crazy stuff. And it lets us also, like, here's a key thing with the endgame stuff this year. You have to juice your Atlas to get full rewards from content. And that means that if you want to try out what is it like to have some silly breach stuff going on, you have to go and specialize your Atlas in breach, and that requires a bunch of respecking. With Atlas memories, you can just go and find a breach memory, and that's essentially fully juiced for the most part. Like obviously it varies from one to one, but our goal here is you are not missing out on anything by not specializing because your Atlas doesn't apply to it.
Yeah.
So you get some pretty nuts stuff going on. Some of them make you feel like a god power-wise, like there are ones who are entirely about some cool thing happens to you and you get to go and experience what that's like. You'll see some situations you don't normally see otherwise. There's some really cool stuff in here I kind of don't want to spoil because I'm looking forward to the moments on Twitch streams where people find these and everyone's like, what is happening here?
Yeah,
Right.
that'll be fun. That'll be really fun to see.
Right? Like an example is one
I think
of the
that's
people
going to
here
be
who has
awesome.
Atlas memories, but I can talk about who has them. In this set of Atlas memories, it's Kirik and Alva and Einhar and Nico are the four that we went with. And this means we can do more in the future with other NPCs. But everyone loves Einhar and his craziness, and his interaction with these things that he barely understands himself, but certainly wants to make friends with all the beasts in is quite cool.
Yeah.
Like Kirik, for example, he's running the military side of the Atlas exploration. He's got a vast backstory of what happened leading up to his ability to have this role in the moment. So this explores a few of the things he's done in his youth and interesting things he's encountered in all the mapping that he's done.
I'm really excited that you're expanding up like the lore and story of the endgame stuff, because we mentioned synthesis earlier with Kalandra, but that was another big part of synthesis. It had a ton of lore for like characters and mapping and stuff like that has kind of disappeared. So it's cool that we're getting something back.
Synthesis is actually quite important canonical Atlas lore to a large extent.
Yeah.
And it's not off the cards to bring synthesis back. Like us doing Lake of Kalandra doesn't mean we're not going to potentially do that. It's just that these leagues happen to be moderately similar, so it does scratch the itch a bit, but in a much more accessible way.
Cool. All right. You mentioned that this mechanic also helps a bit with like the concept of Atlas passage tree lock-in. Have you also given any thought to the idea of like separate Atlas tree loadouts or separation between characters and their different trees?
Yeah, this is one of those difficult challenges where there's a lot of reasons why we can't trivially just say, look, here are multiple Atlas trees and so on. In principle, this idea is not something we're in opposition to, right? Like, if people want trades to be a lot easier, we'll sit there on a little throne and tell them in detail about how wrong they are. But for this, we sympathize with the concept that people want to have multiple Atlas trees because they're running multiple characters in that league, or they want to have different loadouts and so on. But there are no changes at this stage related to it. It's something we'll keep discussing.
Yeah, okay.
The Atlas memories give all of their maps for free. You can like craft them in a little window and everything, which seems like a nice buff to map progression. Sustain's not really too hard these days, but still getting those initial unlocks is good. Do these count as like your Atlas completion when you do these maps?
Yes. I should note, though, they only spawn in quite high tier maps, and they are quite valuable. So you're probably going to have life completion by the time you get them. It's not a thing where you're completing white maps with it. Like, I forget the exact tier they kick in at, but it might be like tier 14, for example. Like, it's certainly very endgame, very juicy
it's
stuff.
very endgame.
Now, you have to apply it to a completed map, but the ones that it snakes out through, which generally goes up tiers rather than down where it can, my understanding is that can go through uncompleted maps and does give you completion for completing them. Now, I haven't actually fact-checked that. That's more of a, this is how it's meant to work. And so, we'll confirm. Like, we'll announce if it's not going to work like that, but my understanding is it should do.
All right. Do the memories like avoid each other on the physical Atlas, and does that mean you can do some weird like memory blocking or something like that by playing multiple memories?
We looked into that, but instead we made it so that they can fully overlap each other. You can apply multiple memories to exactly the same starting map if you want to. They can go on exactly the same path. I mean, they probably won't because they snake randomly. And again, to emphasize it, you should expect these to not be particularly easy to get. Like, yes, people will have multiple running at once occasionally, but they probably had to trade to get those. It would be rare for a person to have multiple concurrently going based on naturally finding them.
There'll be people who just run memories probably after the first month. They'll just be
what happens if you
buying
fail
and
on
running
any
memories.
Yeah, those memory map things.
I mean, you can certainly run out of portals, but you can still play the next one in the sequence. So it gives you your entitlement of having the ability to try to go for the rewards of each one. Now, if you do fail out and don't have any portals left, or you die in hardcore, you're not getting the drops that you would from the rest of the encounter, obviously, so that sucks. But yeah, technically you can still go and play the hard ones, but I don't see how you're going to do any better at the hard ones in the sequence because they ramp up a lot.
Sure. I mean, you just had a bad day in one particular map.
Yeah.
Will there be any changes to the Atlas passage tree for the 3 league mechanics that have been changed?
That's a good question. So my understanding is that we did change it, right? Yeah. So less so for Arch Nemesis, but for Harvest and Beyond, there were changes related to the passives. I don't think we released the Atlas tree before release. I'm not sure. That's a good question as well. So either way, it's changes in line with the theme of what we've been doing with these leagues, so it's not going to be too surprising.
Okay. The Tower of Ordeals, the ultimate boss fight, yeah, it's back. It's created from difficult endgame Val content was the terminology. Is this like Val temple maps or is it something else?
We want people to work it out. Like, it's a variety of stuff. So to be clear about how this works, you do several pieces of content, you get some pieces that you can put together, like making Harmony uniques, you place them next to each other in the inventory. And it's, go play some Val content, see what drops, post it on Reddit, it won't be too hard to work out.
Interesting.
For these. Okay.
Yeah, I'll actually clarify with the Atlas tree question, the details will probably be in the patch notes that we're posting as soon as we finish talking, so people won't have long to wait.
Okay.
It sounds like there's some sort of creation process here. Does that mean we can influence the roles on the map in any way, or are those random and we get what we get?
It spawns random roles, but it's corrupted, so you can't influence it. So that means if you want to try to get good mods on it, you'll have to, of course, complete said Val content many times.
All right. On new and rebalanced uniques now, We asked about the ring, so I can skip that one. But is the lower drop rate of uniques global, or is it specific to the newly buffed uniques? And does it affect unique drops from specific bosses at all?
So it doesn't affect guaranteed boss drops. It is a global change, but we've gone through and reassessed the rarity of each unique. Like we've kind of taken the old system, put it to one side, gone through every unique and said, why is this one quite rare? We should have it be common, and so on and so on. And overall, this means that you are finding fewer uniques per hour that you play. But the difference between uniques is quite staggering. Like I would much rather find one item per time period that I can actually use or has some trade value, rather than, and hypothetically, a bit more than one item, which is probably useless. And so it does feel quite different now. And yeah, no one likes to hear the drop rates have been reduced, but the game was really spamming you with uniques and it's probably gone over the top. And that's because we don't post in the patch notes every time we implicitly increase the drop rate of uniques in the past. We just happen to increase it too much.
When you make a change like this, do you think, people are going to have less alks? And then like change the drop of alks or something? Or,
there were other currency items I was focusing on this league.
Indeed. So you've got a long list of uniques getting changed here, but as mentioned that there are just many more in the game. There's so many now. I think whenever you do like a big list of buffs like this, and the buffs themselves are pretty substantial for the most part, people can feel a bit sad about whatever ones didn't make the cut, for example. I don't think I saw Voltaxic in that picture. Sad. Is there any plans to give like similar treatment to more uniques in the future then?
Yeah, we will be. We plan to iterate on more uniques and other expansions. We're just not sure of the timing of it. I mean, we've done unique revamps in the past. This was an expansion where we happened to have balanced capability lying around in the unique department that we could use for this, and it felt like the right time for it. So yeah, expect more improvements, but we're not promising we'll do every other unique in the next one.
Okay.
People want to know what the process is for creating unique items for Uber Pinnacle bosses, like their design, working with members of the community, and how that's all going. We have one on this league, like.
We have been running a league launch race boss kill event thing for the last couple of leagues, and the way that works is that historically, for the last two, people who were the first to kill all of the Uber Pinnacle bosses got ranked in order and then had the ability to design unique items. And that's resulted in some really cool stuff, like there's got gloves that are in this expansion and a bunch of ones in the last one. We ran into some problems. The first problem was that the same people are having to make the same uniques, and while they have won the competition multiple times, the same people are getting to make multiple uniques, which isn't a problem from a fairness point of view because they're winning the competition, but it's a problem when Ben gets to make like half a dozen or something like that because they're out of ideas after a while. In addition, these content creators, and they're often content creators who are winning these because of skill and so on, often don't have the time to actually fully engage with our design team in a relatively time-consuming process of making these because there's other things happening. And so we only had one out of a backlog of I think 6 or 7 pending uniques actually make it in. And so we're going to be putting a bit of a deadline on it where the creators who still have uniques pending there, we're going to release them in the next expansion with or without their input. Ideally, they will. We're contacting them basically, but yeah, ideally you've got months to actually go and get the process finished. But we are planning to actually release these because the players want their uniques and we're going to give them. So the earlier and faster you can work with us, the more stuff we get in. Now we will be running another race event at the start of this league where there are some cool prizes, and we'll be talking about that this week. But we're not going to be giving out more unique design slots at this stage, partly because we still have a whole bunch we need to finish. And so we've got some other cool stuff that people will probably enjoy, and we'll post about it in the news this week.
Wonder what those rewards are going to be. I hope they're good.
All right, let's talk about some skills and support stuff. Alchemist Mark is one of the new revealed Mark skill, taking the Floss Charge generation off that one used on poachers, I believe. I can't remember which one was poachers. It also creates a ground effect based on like the biggest ignite or poison on an enemy. This seems very good for like ignite builds or big single hit poison builds, but it doesn't seem very useful for most poison builds, which scale by stacking a lot of smaller poisons. Is this the case, and is that just okay?
Yeah, the goal here wasn't to just say all poison builds have an extra thing that they have to stack on in addition to everything else. The goal here was to enable builds to exist that use single big poisons and ignites. So we're trying to open up more space here rather than just buff an archetype.
Cool.
Oh, that's true. Like when we saw like flame blast poison stuff, does that mean consuming dark is one of the change uniques? Sorry, don't worry.
I think that all the change uniques are listed in the patch notes. And for reference, I would much rather just say they're in the game, go have fun, but we have listed every change as far as I'm aware. So it's all there. Spoil it,
Okay.
Wow, so all the uniques
so we'll take a look at all those
you're going to stall for a while.
We could stop right now. People have information, but instead we keep going through the question.
I'm not going to stop until Bex tells me to.
I feel really bad for the person who has to write up all the changes if I was wrong and they aren't listed there, and then the community expects them, and that's their weekend gone.
Sorry.
See the
so the new shock skills seem very cool. Though they feel a bit like PoE 2 skills. I've been noticing this a lot lately, where we will have a lot more socket and support freedom in the future. I've noticed this is a bit of a trend with new skills feeling a lot more like combo pieces, and like it really feels like you're butting up against the limitations of the current socket system. Do you feel that when you design skills at the moment?
Yeah, we are certainly designing content for PoE 2. I mean, this league is designed so it could appear in PoE 2 if we decide to. We're trying very hard to make sure that we're juicing both games at the same time, and that's why from a quality point of view we want it to be top notch. And also, I mean, it means we can produce much higher budget stuff for PoE 1 because we're getting to spend PoE 2 money on it, and it also means that we're able to make sure PoE 2 launches with a much larger stable of content than other action RPGs in that generation will do.
That's pretty cool.
New life when PoE 2 comes out with.
That's pretty cool. They can kind of mix and match because they're kind of making it a
they'll find places like our team are very
together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of game.
Overcharge support, I really like the idea of it. Is there any concern that it could become like a universally used damage scaling tool? I've seen this in other games where they've had like a mechanic that you debuff an enemy with so that they take more damage, and the entire gameplay ends up revolving around them. Is this something you're like concerned about here?
So in order to get a good shock value, you don't want to put it in a 2-link with some random skill to shock enemies. You want to actually increase that damage and put it in a 4-link. And so then you're facing the opportunity cost of every other relevant support general utility skill you could have in that slot. So I mean, it will certainly have its place in trying to make good shocks, but it's not just something you put onto every build just as an afterthought because there's limited sockets going on there.
Yeah, right now like you have the option, I guess, of doing that, but it usually comes at a pretty big opportunity cost. Like Skitterbots, for example, reserving something is a pretty frequently used one. So I guess right now, if it's hard to get enough power in a build that doesn't really make sense, it's not going to be a problem. I guess it might be something you might have to review in PoE 2 when people can throw a 6-link at it, even if they're like a melee build or something where it doesn't make much sense otherwise.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm avoiding commenting on the availability of 6-links in that content, but people should
I mean, as far as everyone's concerned at this point, we're all getting a 6-link on every single skill. Not
instantly on the beat.
Yep.
A whole lot.
Thank you for all the 6-links. Well, speaking of 6-links, we've got the return of Tainted Fusings coming this league. I really like those for easier, unique availability on corrupted items. It's like a awesome stepping stone. I'm glad to see you guys brought that back, but is it something you wanted to avoid, or because they didn't stay around for a while, but now they're coming back? What are your thoughts on like that and the availability of 6-links in general?
We believe the rate that we've reintroduced them is going to be safe because they're moderately scarce. They're certainly they're not dropping all over the place, so it should be fine.
All right.
Okay,
Let's talk about the
good.
League revamps, in particular Arch Nemesis. I'm very excited to see big changes on the Arch Nemesis side of things. The risk of putting it bluntly, I think Arch Nemesis implementation last League was not met with a lot of love for many, and it didn't really feel like an
Yeah.
improvement to the game overall for some. How was your reaction to the implementation of Arch Nem, and and the community's reaction to it?
So I played at League launch last time, which is relatively rare because usually we have raging server fires and that kind of stuff that I get to work on, but this time I got to play some Path of Exile. And I got all the way to maps without really feeling any problems with the Arch Nemesis stuff. And so I was a bit, like, I had some cognitive dissonance with the feedback, but our design team, like, agreed with the feedback. Our design team looked at the builds people were playing, looked at the way they were playing, went through it and said, yeah, we need to tone down some problematic stuff here, which is good, because I'm glad they're the design team and not me. And so we really feel that Res in the early game felt too hard relative to Res later on. And we made a lot of changes to it in response to the feedback, and obviously that stuff we should have had in there through more testing prior to the release. But there were some changes specifically around rewards that we wanted to do, but weren't fast to implement, so we waited till 3.19, and that's why it's one of the revamped leagues here, despite being so recent. And it was the ability to go through the entire game and make sure that the rates that you're encountering Res is appropriate for how difficult they are, and then making sure that when you do have a hard rare fight, you don't just get a pile of junk, you actually get some really good stuff going on. And so now people will hopefully look forward to finding monsters with multiple Arch Nemesis mods so that they may get really broken conversion stuff.
How aggressive was this reduction in rare monsters applied overall?
It varies. In some cases, there were no changes. Like, for example, the monsters in the actual just areas you walk through are generally relatively low. Like, you can play a map and only encounter a few rares if you haven't juiced it, you know, with all balance values, and that's left unmodified. Of course, you could, if you're lucky, encounter more. But the leagues spammed behavior loving. Like, there were some leagues that gave a lot of rare monsters. Like, we had to turn them like 6 or 8 times in some cases. And so that's making a big difference. Now you actually have some ability to focus on what mods you're playing against, as opposed to the screen being full of, you know, yellow 1 frame per second death. So yeah, there has been a big reduction for some leagues, and then we've had to compensate. And this is why Beyond and Harvest were 2 that we redid, because we can turn down rares, but you can't turn down rares in Beyond, where the whole point is all the monsters are basically rare, or Harvest, where they have to be rare in order to give the amount of life force they did before. We had to rework systems and balance entirely for those leagues in order to be able to turn the rares down.
Chat's been spamming about Headhunter. How does this nerf Headhunter once again into the dust, Chris?
All these extra mods on rare monsters for you to take, I mean, that's a buff, right? We can't balance the entire game around Headhunter, and it's still a very powerful item.
There you go, Chat.
It's true. Still a nerf, but
how does this change the balance between base gameplay reward and specific league reward mechanics? So I guess now, like, when a rare spawns from a league mechanic, it potentially is dropping its new reward system, whether it's like a bundle of maps or uniques or something like that as well.
Yeah, we want it to be consistent across both. We've had a problem long term with Path of Exile that isn't fully solved, where the base game has one difficulty and league content has a different difficulty. Like, if you were to fight a monster in an expedition, a white monster, and look how much life it has compared to just a random zombie walking on the beach one screen over from the base game, there's a pretty big difference there. And we haven't, like, addressed that life difference here. It's quite a large change to go and normalize all that, but we do want it so that league content is appropriately rewarding for its difficulty, but not to the point where you just don't want to play the base game. And so here, a rare monster is a leagues have interesting ways of supplying you with rare monsters, often at a higher rate than normal, but hopefully not at an insane rate. The rares are difficult to fight based on how many mods they have, and each additional mod adds more reward. And to be specific about this, so rare monsters themselves drop better items than normal. Each additional Arch Nemesis mod drops more items in a multiplicative kind of stacky way. This, of course, will stack with your player rarity and quantity, which does matter a lot more than before. Then some of the mods have conversions that occur, and those conversions can stack together. And the goal is that player rarity and quant both affect all of these conversion things. And this means we have internal calculations now where for monster drops like this, your player rarity can actually convert currency items to better currency items. So if you get a currency item drop and you've got a lot of rarity, you're potentially having a higher chance of better currency in there internally. And so we're trying very hard to make sure that killing rares is a very rewarding experience to justify the fact that we made them really hard fights. Like, we don't want to back down on the hardness of the fights. In fact, in some cases with the 4-mod ones, it's a little harder than it was last league. But the rewards are a lot better, and you're not being spammed with them.
Yeah, that's the thing that people were complaining about was...
what's going on when there's like 10 rares there, and there's a billion poison things trying to bonk me.
So people were complaining about lastly was that, yeah, they pumped up all the difficulty, but the rewards for beating all the Arch Nemesis mods were not that high. And so this should fix that. Also, there's a Keystone passive in the Atlas tree that gives you +1 more modifier to rare enemies. That's going to be basically mandatory for end game people who can handle all that stuff. So, yeah.
And like the constant running from like on death effects and things like that. Has there been much work to like improve or change or remove some of these mechanics?
A lot of the work to remove and address unfun mods was done early in 3.18, but what's worth noting here is, with the way that magic monsters were working until 3.19, they both had the full range of crazy on-death kind of spammy stuff, and often had a different mod each. And so the magic monster changes here are quite impactful because it means, A, there's one mod shared between the group of them, so you read what the mod is and then deal with that mod, and if that means it's on death, you're dealing with some on death on this group, but then you don't have to worry about it on other groups. And it also means that we went through and greatly reduced the amount of stuff like on-death modifiers that you get on magic monsters. A lot more of them are just, I'm harder because I do fire damage kind of stuff now. And so that means that you're not running into the stuff as completely frequently as you were in the past, especially with the reduction of the number of rare monsters.
Yeah, that magic monster reduction also nerfs the not just headhunter because headhunter is affected by the rare mods, but the replica headhunter, by them toning down the magic mobs, replica headhunters are probably very not good this league.
Chat really wants to talk about melee, so I guess we're going to pause the current topic we're talking on chat. Here you go, I gotcha. They want to talk about melee, but I'm not really sure what the specific questions are. So do you have any generic comments on the state of melee in Path of Exile currently? And then maybe I can read some specific questions from chat instead of just spamming melee.
So my interpretation of what chat's asking is that they feel that they would like to see buffs to melee skills.
Me too, yeah, I figure.
Which we haven't included specific reworks in this expansion, but what I'll do, and this is not a promise, so do not put melee on your internal list for 320, is I'll make sure that when we're having our design meetings for 320, this is brought up. There are pros and cons for this, and I was recently having a look at how they're doing melee skills in PoE 2, and you will love that. As much of that as we can get into PoE 1, we will try to do, but bear in mind, one of the major things they have there is an entirely new animation system that lets them do really punchy, cool stuff. And so the future is very bright for melee, and I will make sure I understand that it's not necessarily about the punchiness of the base skills, it's also about, the builds being viable from a damage point of view and so on. And so I will make sure that we do bring that up with the design team. I will just do a quick dev check to see if there's any thoughts. Anything coming up? Yeah, we're aware people would like us to discuss melee.
Why did Cleave only get like a 2 radius buff?
I don't know. I found this out by reading the patch notes as well.
Something
Radius,
else, maybe?
Radius has an impact, right? Like,
Sure.
it doesn't sound bad to me. Maybe I wasn't wanting to be angry that day.
I think the Cleave thing is funny because I think what it does is it's not so much that like buffing Cleave's radius is a problem and that it's bad, but it highlights for people the idea that it's like, yeah, melee's a problem. Here you go. Here's a little fix, and it's like a breadcrumb. So I think for people that's what it's indicative of.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that people want to see.
Yeah, melee is kind of...
There's a lot of expansions between now and then, so we certainly will continue to improve as much as we can.
Excellent stuff. Going back to the League content a bit, Beyond, it's so great to see a big Beyond update. It's a lot of people's favorite, despite being very poorly aged. And it's a bit of a beloved mechanic. And it's good to see the monsters getting updated, like you said, they're just painted bandits from Act 2. But I think there's still going to be a little bit of nostalgia for some of the old bosses. Will we see them again in some form or anything like that? Or are they just gone for good?
They're gone for good, sorry. They're literally bandits. Like, we made Beyond in like 1.2 or 3, and we had like 20 people in the company at that stage. Like, we have 20 people in QA now, basically. And we, with a 3-month cycle or whatever we're working to, it was very hard to get that content ready in time. And this is where we're doing 2 challenge leagues at a time. Like, Anarchy was with Onslaught. I think I was with Beyond. Rampage was with Beyond. So we had to work on 2 leagues at the same time. I understand it was smaller then. But when we needed monsters, the answer was take something painted red. And that held out for 8 years. Like, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
We're not going to be using those assets again, unfortunately.
Oh, goodbye, honest. See you, Mike.
It's hard mode, cool. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
You keep throwing fine. Well, what's going on with hard mode, Chris?
Oh, we're working on that.
hard mode.
We're working on that. No promises, but it's coming along. No, it wasn't actually always the plan. For a while, we were thinking of removing Beyond, but we worked out that we could fix it up. And we wouldn't remove something just because of its art assets, but we also were unhappy. Like, Beyond is a funny league, because when it was initially released as a hardcore league, okay, so when it's always on, and you want to level, and not everyone is great at the game, you have to actually be kind of careful. Beyond has tension. If you trigger too many monsters, you die. And so even, like, for medium skill level players, they had to be careful to not accidentally have Hearts all over the place when they were playing maps. And so my experience playing Beyond way back in the day was kind of fearing it, wanting to engage, like flirting with the edges of it, but often just getting wiped out. And in a hardcore league, that meant a lot of new characters. And then nowadays, where people's clear speed can just deal with Beyond, and they're probably not playing hardcore, and they can control when it's on and just stack it as a juicing mechanic, it's totally mandatory juicing mechanic where you just have it on your maps where you want to get a lot of extra monsters, and it spawns tons of them. And so it was basically an all or nothing kind of thing. The new version of it is a lot more well considered. It's still a way of juicing your content and getting extra drops, but it's done in a way that's a bit less abusable, and ideally something that people will not feel afraid of using if they do find it challenging.
Okay, so Beyond is
previously
a bit...
the way it spawned monsters was very consistent. It would consistently spawn a rare, and you kind of like you see those like dropping out constantly. How does it change the mechanics of how that works now? Like, I understand the bosses are replaced with scourge bosses, but how does the like spawning work now compared?
Yeah, we've taken that back to the drawing board a bit with making sure that the numbers and so on have been tweaked, and I recommend people just try it out. I don't really want to itemize the exact list of mechanical changes behind the scenes. Play the league, see what you think, get some good currency.
It's different. All right. Chad wants to know how they will get the Steam achievement to kill a Baxith now. Some people are big on achievements, Chris.
Gone.
The people who already got it get to keep it as like a legacy achievement. How does that work? I don't know how that works.
That is a very good question.
Go on. See you,
That's why you need hundreds of people in the company, because someone is having to worry about that.
Yeah, I would never think of that. Harvest changes. Huge.
yeah, this is...
We might just see some players who are essentially banned and mechanic returning to it here, maybe, hopefully. Also, like myself, for example. Also, we got a long way to change to remove third-party trust rating, too. How did these changes come about after all this time?
We had a few issues here. The first one was the observation that, and this may sound a bit hyperbolic, but it's also kind of accurate. You would do a Sacred Grove, and you would end up with a bunch of trades, and you would then be forced to, on the spot, either you find a bunch of crafts, and you'd be forced to either do those crafts on your items, which involves having some kind of plan for what you're wanting to do, and a whole bunch of understanding and looking at the wiki and looking at the building.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was like 30 in some cases, crafts that you could do. Or trade them with people, because if you walk out of that grove without using the craft, you've lost the value.
Yeah.
So it's useful for someone, and so you have to go and like hang around, seeing someone wants to scam you today, or you want to scam them, or like it was a complete mess. And then everyone like likes to hate on TFT, which was serving a useful function for the community, and it's just like it is better that kind of thing is handled internally in the game where possible. So the other problem we had with Harvest was that it had dangerous deterministic crafts, and we feel dangerous from the point of view that for making the best items in the game, you often had to use Harvest, and this meant that there was a system that was a real pain in terms of it interrupts your mapping for half an hour and involves interaction with other humans, and it was kind of mandatory as far as people were concerned for making the best items, and we didn't like that. And so now it's still powerful. It is significantly more streamlined. You basically just do your grove, pick up your currency that you get now, and think about it later. And whatever one you want to craft, you have a look, see if you have enough life force. If you don't, you just go trade for some more using traditional trading tools. If you don't like Harvest, previously you had to engage with it unless you turned it off. Now you can accumulate that life force, and if you need some more chaos, just trade a pile of it for chaos whenever you need to.
Great. So you've
So
seemingly
awesome.
Every option of crafting unlocked at the beginning now. Do you just have to like how do you balance that out for like the really rare powerful crafts? Do you just have different life force that you have to collect for them, or is it just you balance it based on quantity simply?
So pinnacle crafts like the Exalt crafting require you to kill a Sharpie to get a life force. And so some of the more valuable ones do require you to go through the tier 4 beast, a Sharpie chain in order to get the life force, or trade for it, of course. But we have gone through and made changes to what crafts are available. There are some that are gone. Usually ones that didn't have a purpose anymore, ones that shouldn't really have existed in the first place. Some things have been moved elsewhere, like the special offerings to the goddess you now get from the labyrinth itself, rather than having to go through Harvest to get that.
Okay.
Some, like Breachhead stuff comes from the relevant content rather than from Harvest now.
Yeah. That makes sense. Overall, how much has the balance and power of harvest crafting changed for the and will the average endgame player want to engage with it now? Do you think?
It's still going to be a good way of improving your items, but I'll hopefully see that it isn't mandatorily listed on the plan to get every single best item with rare crafting before this. There's subtle changes here now. Previously, one of the good crafts you could get was the ability to exalt a mod. That's now a null exalt, and so you lose a mod before you gain one. And so there's a bit less determinism in it. You can still have good outcomes, but it does involve quite a lot more risk than before for some of those ones.
Frostdata asks what happens to their currently stored crafts that they have at the moment, banked, all their thousands of exalt items crafted.
You should use those now.
Okay, use your crafts,
I
everybody.
believe that you should use them before
Yes.
the league, or before the new league comes out.
Okay, then I'll take a look at that.
All right, have fun staying, please. Will harvest monsters still Omega Barrage me when I click the button, Chris?
The monsters are spawned in staggered waves over a short period now, so it doesn't take long for them to all be spawned, but they won't spawn physically in the same frame.
Great.
And as I mentioned, we've rebalanced the fights to have fewer rares and better composition and so on, so it's not going to be quite so dangerous.
That's fantastic. It was one of the most egregious examples of that left in the game, I think, after like various other things have been improved. It's good to hear. Mini builds. We're seeing a lot of changes to mini builds, from skill rebalancing, necromancer changes, a lot of itemization changes. There's some stuff, really good stuff in there that seems really good, like the itemization stuff I'm really excited about, but some of the other stuff like necromancer's rework being met with concern. I'm not really sure about everyone else, but I have a hard time picturing the overall state of things with all of these changes put together. Can you kind of like lay it out for us, Chris?
So, necromancers are now like other Path of Exile builds. Your build strength is moderately proportional to how good your items are. Before, you could, to some extent, get the skills, level them up, not really care about your items, and still have some degree of competence. And that ability to get into the end game without actually having to find items was, you could view it charitably as, a tutorial for the game or something like that, but it really meant that there was a whole group of characters that weren't having to really engage with what Path of Exile was meant to be about, finding really good items to improve your character and getting rewarded for it. We also felt that minion characters were just not good enough. Like, we felt that at the end game, they could be more powerful. And the problem is the way to make them more powerful was buff the skills. But it's one of the things where we wanted them to be better, but we didn't want to buff their skills. And so we've realized that by giving far more itemization options, it's now possible for them to be significantly better than before.
Yeah, this is the thing.
It's one of those things where we've taken everyone defaulting from a 7 out of 10, and now they default to a 3 out of 10 like everyone else, but they have the ability to become a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
The other stuff into it is, previously, the Necromancer and Ascendancy skills were where you got a lot of your power, and we've essentially moved a lot of power now to your items. This means that if you're playing a minion build, you don't have to play a Necromancer, because it's not quite as powerful as before, because the power's been made up elsewhere on items, and other Ascendancy classes get access to the items. You now have the ability to play a variety of different Ascendancy classes and still play a minion character.
We're going to scoot things along pretty quickly now, chat, because we are running out of time a little bit. But talking about Exalted and Divine changes, chat's been asking a lot about Divines and Divine Shards.
This is the one I want to
anything happening there?
figure about.
We're not planning to add shards. This is along the lines of the reason why we don't want gold in the game is because we don't want there to be a single homogeneous trade currency that's, you trade 70,000 of these for that item and that's what it's worth. So we're very, very careful to not add shards for the big ticket items that can be easily got. The motivation behind the changes here is that we would like people to be using Exalt more. The ability to actually craft with Exalt would be nice. We all feel that by having Divine be comparatively rarer, then the mods on items actually matter. When you find a unique or a rare with good rolls, that's something which, yes, you can still change it with Divines, but it is actually a more important thing. And so it's in line with having wider ranges on some of these that we've revamped. You can find some very powerful versions of them. So we want to make sure that Divines aren't quite as common. We really shouldn't have been handing out Divines through a vendor recipe in the way that we were, but at least with this change here, we can make sure that it comes, we aren't changing the drop rate in any of these. The result is players will not be able to divine their items as much as they would before, and they can exalt their items probably quite a lot more than they could before, due to the fact that the trade value won't be so prohibitively high for exalts.
Well, yeah, it makes a lot of sense because the order of crafting would be you exalt the item and then you divine it to finish it off, but they were the reverse way around in terms of value, and the result of exalt being so valuable was that they would never get right-clicked. So do you think that's going to change dramatically? Do you think exalt's going to be worth 7 chaos or something?
I don't know the ratio and I don't want to speculate, but yeah, I would expect that it's going to change the values of trade for items. But Path of Exile is already good at that and capable of dealing with the fact that the stuff is arbitrary in the first place.
Great. Rise QT asks, with Divines becoming a lot more rare, obviously, what's going to happen to Divine Vessels and there's a recipe to make those? Are they going to still be very rare, or are they going to be made more common to help?
The recipe's unchanged.
We haven't changed the recipe at this stage.
A very expensive recipe now, potentially.
Wow.
Something to think about, maybe?
Approximately equivalent to. Divines will be worth approximately what Exalts were before in terms of difficulty getting them.
Probably a similar value. 110C Divine Vessel recipe. It's we've got some missed questions here. Chat folks ask, confirm that MTXs don't deal damage or pick up items themselves. Yes.
That's correct. The new MTX are exciting because they look like they're going to help you in the gameplay, but they really don't. Right?
This is the best trick that you can pull, is make them look like that. Oh,
I'm
I
waiting for
need some
someone
sort
to
of advantage, but
I'm waiting for someone to write into customer support all angry about the fact they thought they were going to be able to cheese by buying these micros. We do try to make it clear that it's just cosmetic, but they certainly do quite exciting things. But if those things were real, then exploding on death and killing the monsters would certainly be something special.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I've been curious about PoE Mobiles. It's been all quiet on that front until today's ExileCon announcement. How's development been going? And if you're happy to speak about it, is it still aiming to be quite a different experience to PoE desktop, or is it going to be a direct port, or how are you kind of progressing there?
Progression's going good. Yeah, we've got a lot to show, and we're saving that up for ExileCon next year. The direction is what we talked about before. I don't know if I described it as quite a different experience. There's certainly mobile versions of games that play like mobile games, and ours is trying to represent as much of the full PC experience as we can do while still actually being playable on a phone. And so, the ability to go and
Okay.
Your questions, chat. I appreciate the answer.
I think that's pretty much it. All right, and then the last thing we're gonna do. Let's go to the main site. Content update. Okay, so Lake of Kalandra. Okay. challenge leagues. So challenge league, blah blah blah. So we're gonna do these mirrored tablets. New rare jewelry. This is the mirrored thing that they talked about earlier. That's gonna be pretty cool. I think the one that's gonna be really useful is the one that does double. I think what it is, you can like craft your own items with it. So yeah, that'll be pretty sweet. Rare version, always, yeah. This one, the rare version, be nice. Those are going to be worth lots. Challenge League. Okay, new content, new intelligence, skill gem applies a buff boosting chance to shock. When you shock an enemy, I have this buff creates a spherical. Shocks the enemy for a duration, which will damage it and nearby enemies with beams of lightning. So yeah, the new lightning things, I'm not sure how these are all gonna work. It looks like they kind of want them to work a little bit also with Trickster, but yeah, I'm not sure. Hitting strikes all shocked enemies around targeted location, then remove shock from those enemies. Shocks cannot expire on enemies in range while casting a spell. Cannot be supported by spell cascade or unleash. Okay. Um, what is it? The arc spiders I think might be pretty good for these skill gems. This pretty good for. This is going to be really good for poisonous concoction, right? Won't it? Gives you flash charges, so it'll help you maintain your flash charges, and it'll poison them. Burning aura, they ignites them, cost to ground if it poisons them. Like, isn't it? I think so. 14 new uniques, blah blah blah. Okay, Arch Nemesis, lower number of rare response in boss encounters. Assemble metamorphs no longer summon minions at various life thresholds. Okay, so you're just going to be fighting the metamorph. That's interesting. Ritual tribute from sacrificing rare monsters has been increased to compensate for the reduced number of rare monsters now spawned. Immune responses. Atlas now causes blight encounters to spawn 50% more non-unique monsters. Previously 100. Okay, so they nerfed a bit of the blight stuff. Abyssal, they nerfed a bit. Unspeakable, yeah, they nerfed by half. So you're gonna have half the monsters with Abyss and Blight, so they're not gonna be nearly as good for gaining XP or juicing as they were. Unspeakable offensive causes Harbingers to summon 60% more minions. Okay, well, what does it do then? Okay, they took it off what it did, it no longer does that, but now what does it do? Okay. The Flash Breach Atlas skill now causes breaches in your map to have 20% increased area of effect. Okay. So Breach is a bit nerfed there too. During campaign, rare monsters only have 1 or 2 mods. That's going to be nice. In maps they'll only have more than one. And then they have the conversion system. Valley of Darkness has been removed. Stream of Consciousness is taken up. What's the Valley of Darkness's Atlas passive? Oh gosh. Yeah, I want to check out what that is. I forget. Oh wait, I can look it up here. Oh wait, no. Where's the real Atlas passive tree? With Psi. Should be here, right? Passive tree, here we go. Oh, no. Atlas tree, there we go. So right now, Valley of Darkness is removed. And instead, what's going to be there is Stream of Consciousness. Okay, so Stream of Consciousness is going to be taken away from here, so it's not going to be as easy for a lot of people to get. Maps have 50% more base chance to contain extra content, so that's going to be here, and Valley of Darkness is gone. That's too bad. That was, as I said, that was my first thought when I saw that. I was like, oh, that's going to be really good, but nope. Okay, magic monsters have a restricted list of arch nemesis mods. Okay. Tone down the modifiers that can spawn. So that's replica headhunter. No good. Okay, magic monsters with the Storm Strider modifier no longer trigger Lightning Mirage when hit. That's good. Trigger Inferno Bolt. No. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, so they toned down a couple of the different Arch Nemesis mods also. Evocationist has been named to Prismatic. Dynamo is named to Electrocuting. Okay. Monsters with block chance generally take a small percentage of incoming damage. So now monsters with Sentinel and Benevolent Guardian modifiers take 20% damage from hits they block. So that's good. Those two were really hard. I remember just trying to pound away on Sentinels. Like, it was so hard to kill them. Beyond got reworked. Scourge is now Beyond. Base chance for Beyond portals spawn when killing monsters now fixed at 15%. So now Beyond is stuck at 15%. They don't stack. You cannot get the 45 whatever percent Beyond. Okay, so once a boss is spawned. Oh, so it like builds up the encounter. That's pretty cool. So it builds up the encounter to a boss, and then you kill the boss, and that's it for Beyond. So that'll make this much less necessary for people. Tainted currency. Oh, we have tainted currency in the exotic section of the currency tab. Thank you very much. That's nice. Sextant modifiers now grant increased Beyond pack size instead of a chance for additional Beyond monster to spawn. That's nice. New Beyond monsters do not drop Scourge items. Aww. Following changes have been made to the Atlas passive tree. Niche Opulence now causes rare demons in your maps to drop an additional basic currency item. Previously a 25% chance. Oh, okay, that's cool. So now it's automatic. 3 small nodes. Prior, they granted 8. Now are 5. Increased quantity. That makes sense because they increased it to it's automatically drop an additional basic currency and then 5% increased quantity. Scent of Blood no longer grants slaying enemies 3% chance. Now it grants 10% chance for your maps to attract Beyond monsters automatically. That's nice. Torn Veil no longer grants powerful demons require 1 feet of portal. Beyond portals in your map, 30% increase to spawn unique boss. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of corrupted items running around too. That'll be nice. Okay, harvests. Monsters no longer associated with specific crafting options do not grant use of crafting options on death. Instead, monsters defeated now drop stacks of life force. This is a new currency. Life force is Used at the currency station. Is it only one kind? Harvest bosses are now encountered more frequently. That's cool. So she now has a chance to drop crystallized life force, which can be used for a specific set of crafting options. Okay, so Obashi, Avatar of the Grove. So there is different kinds of life force. There's crystallized life force. Currently stored in Heart of Crafting stations will be deleted. Okay, so use those current Heart of Crafting stations. Dedication gifts and tribute to the goddess now have a chance to drop from reward chests at the end of a labyrinth. That's cool. Used beaches. Makes sense that they're put in the beachhead maps now have a chance to drop from tier 15 beachhead unique map bosses encounter. Lures and infused engineer's orbs can no longer be obtained. Oh, lures and infused engineer's orbs are gone. Those are going to go up in value too. The engineer's orbs, no. I think lures, though. They might have a, yeah. Upper crop notable atlas no longer grants a sacred grove, contains an additional harvest instead of grants a sacred grove. There's a 50% chance. Yeah, okay. Because you're getting, yeah, because you can store it now, so that's fine. Part of the grove atlas passive no longer harvest always drop sacred plant instead now grants harvest crops have 60% increased chance to contain a tier 4 plant. Okay, because we're not going to have Sacred Blossom, a need for a Sacred Blossom anymore. Bountiful Harvest, Noteless Passive, now gains harvest plants in your map. 10% chance to spawn an additional monster. Sales passives that granted plants harvested in your maps have 3% chance to give an additional crafting option. No. 3% increased life force, that makes sense. Plants harvested in your map are crafting options, but that causes life force to be duplicated. Oh, that's pretty cool. That'll be worth it. Neo's Betrayal Research Safe House crafting bench rewards have been replaced. They no longer randomized numeric value implicits. Randomized new value instead they now reforge the colors of the links of an item 50 times. Let's come and talk about interesting. So they're really pushing that divine stuff. So divine is going to be much rarer. Resulted in divine orbs. So they changed this. So now they're same build modifiers that had a divine orb cost when crafted now have exalted. Yes, cannot all. Okay, that changed. That changed. Heist trinket modifiers that provide a chance for regal orb drops instead of heists. Now go up to 4, previously 5, to match the trinket modifiers. Chance for regal drop to drop is exalted. Oh, okay, so they just changed it to match. So that they want divines and exalts to be the same drop rate, basically, is what they're doing. Drop rate of Forbidden Shaco. And the risk has increased. Oh, cool. So these are all getting more. I've never gotten a Forbidden Shaco, so Bestiary Repi that rerolls and revert values changed now transforms a Gilded Scarab to a Winged Scarab. So Winged Scarabs are going to be more accessible. That's nice. Selling an item with 6 length now gives you 20 fuses. Yeah, okay, sure. Uniques. So these are all the uniques. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Anything really good? I'm not sure. Skeletons are now permanent. That's interesting. Oh my god, there's so many. Okay, let's come back to that later. It's like 3 pages or 4 pages of scrolling. Oh, faded uniques can no longer be acquired. Not enough remaining to support a system. You're just disabling. So no more fated uniques. None. Fated uniques. Special modifiers have been moved to the base version of that unique. Okay, so some of the fated unique stuff has just been straight up moved. Mad King and the power definition cards have been disabled. Existing cards cannot be turned in currently. A vendor recipe for Chimera's Adverse. Okay. Fated Unique Atlas and rare clusters have been removed. Okay. Because randomly counter masters in your message. Interesting. So they added some more notables to increase master missions. There are increased masters on random when the masters randomly show up. Okay. Streamlining things a little bit. Defense balance. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much all the stuff that they were talking about before. Temperature. So they changed, they made it more based on the items for spell suppression, basically. Yeah, spell suppression. Arctic armor. They took off of lab enchantments. Flesh and stone now causes you to take 15% less damage from attacks that aren't nearby. Sand stance. Okay. Defiance banner, they nerfed. Wind dancer, they buffed. Arrow dancing, they also buffed. Ward, uh, they definitely buffed. 5 tiers of a new suffix modifier, granting 50% faster restoration of ward. Grasping mail, they nerfed. That's why those breach rings are now 10C. They're going for 10C pop. Mind over matter builds. The fortification they buffed again. Minion balance. This is all stuff they talked about before. Um, some miscellaneous skill and support gem balance. This is going to be okay. This is where I wanted to go. Corpse explosion is nerfed. Fire trap nerfed. Trap cooldown and duration. Semi nerfed. Seismic trap. It's too high. Seismic trap is 30% less damage. Oof. That's a nerf. I'm not sure if it's enough. Could be, though. Could be. Explosive arrow. Got nerfed. Cast on death. Nerfed. Blessing skills nerfed. Sniper's mark. Hydrosphere. Underperforming skills. Artillery ballista. Cleave. Crackling lance. 0% radius at 1 up to plus 10. Okay. Decoy, Devouring Totem. Energy Blades now has 200 Energy Blades, 70% more lightning damage. Energy Blade might be really good. Shock Nova. Soul Rend. Okay, Soul Rend is pretty good now. Thunder. Critical Strike Affliction support now causes supported skills 7% damage over time multiplied for ailments. Okay. All clarity, roughly still cost. So they were people using Vol Clarity? Who were people? What were people using Vol Clarity for? It has 50 souls per use, previously 30. Okay, so they nerfed Vol Clarity for some reason. Awakened Hex Touch support. Blood Sacrament skill. So no, they're not touching Lightning Strike. They're not touching Nightblade support. So Lightning Strike champion, basically, because they nerfed Seismic Trap. So I think Lightning Strike champion. Nothing the Flash, yes, nerf. Effect of Shock. Downward skills. Chainbreaker, they reworked. They want people to use this again. One rage, every 25 mana regenerate, mana recovery from regeneration applied skills cost 3 rage. So wait. So they're buffing. So they're buffing lightning damage and they're not removing lightning strike? What? Putting stun avoidance on flasks. Reduce trap duration. Oh, recombinators cannot be used on mirrored items. Oh, so sad. Monsters can evade reflected damage? What? Okay, added back to the map. Ancient City, Arachnid Nest, Arachnid Tome, Belfry, Castle Ruin, Chateau, Cathedral Rig, Excavation, Good Old Ley Line, Pen, Phantasm. Here, Plateau. Silo, back again. Okay, Sulfur Vents and Waterways. Removed. Basilica Bazaar, Burial Chambers. Oh, okay, that's out. Core Courtyard, Glacier. Oh no, Glacier is removed. So sad. Tropical Island. Map tiers are shuffled. Some map bosses have been changed for pantheons, divination cards, new homes. Blue in the grotto. Oh, that's, yeah, 2 additional sergeants. Okay. Turek lead mods. Map device now remembers which map crafting option you last used. It's automatically selected if it's available. You have relevant currency. Nice. Highlighting a mastery in the passive. Skill tree now highlights all masteries of the same type. Ability to select which microtransaction tier to display as the maximum tier for relevant equipped microtransactions. Okay, 6 tech color alpha values and item filters also affect the transparency of sockets on dropped items. More user interface. Okay, cool. Red website now requires you to be logged in. Ooh. Oh. That's, oh, I mean, they kind of had to, right? Yeah, so I wonder how that's going to affect Awaken PoE trade. Oh my, that's going to be, yeah, they'll have to have some sort of a connection logged in sort of a thing for the trade tools. Wow, that's a big change, actually. That's a really big change in the game. Debuffs that prevent life energy shield recovery, such as it didn't prevent some sources of instant. They were just getting too many requests, I think. And then they fixed a bunch of bugs. Interesting. Okay, let's go back and take a look at the uniques, see if there's any that catch our eye. But yeah, it looks like Lightning Strike Champion. That's what it is. Lightning Strike Champion, Lightning Strike Raider, maybe again, not sure. But it looks like that's probably the best for League start. They nerfed everything else. Yeah, Lightning Strike is fine, I guess. Lightning Strike is exactly where they want it to be. I'm just, maybe I missed something? Maybe? Here, wait, let me try. Fix the bug where Lightning Strike could hit a single target twice from one attack. Oh, it's buried in the bug section. Oh, dear. Anything else? There is another one. Lightning Conduit. Lightning strikes all shocked enemies. Okay, so yeah, no. That's a big nerf. Oh, dear, that's a big nerf. Oh, what to do then? I don't know. I'm gonna have to take a look. That's a big nerf. That's half the damage gone from Lightning Strike. So, hmm. So that was a bug. That was an unintended bug. It's nice for you to bury it in the bug fixes, guys. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's take a look here. Hmm. Nightblade still does its thing, though. I'll have to take a look at what other skills are available. Because if Lightning Strike does half the damage, like a 50% nerf is very significant. So, yeah. Um, Elbrand's Warpath, I think. Okay. The unique gloves no longer do increased damage over time. Now is a satin glove. Okay. Body armor no longer gain endurance charge when you take critical strike. Share endurance charges, or regenerate 2% of life if you have hit recently. Instead, it now has gain up to maximum endurance charges when you take a critical strike, and your nearby party members' maximum endurance charges are equal to yours. Oh, cool. Anvil unique amulet, 10% chance to block. Okay, oh, it's more. That's nice. Apep's Rage wand, poisons deal damage. Oh wow, very much faster. That's cool. Unique amulet no longer has regenerate life. Now has gain elusive on reaching low life. Ooh, and phasing while on low life. Wow. That's going to be a really good low life amulet, actually. Phasing while on low life and elusive on reaching low life. That is crazy. Helmet no longer provides increased cast speed, increase. This is not a. Oh, I guess maybe they changed the drop value. They must have changed the drop value. Trigger a socketed spell when you attack with a bow with a 3-second cooldown. Spell damage. Okay. Ash Color unique wand no longer has chance to ignite burning damage. Da, 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 da. Now has cover enemies in ash on hit and 25% chance to level 10 Raging Spirit on kill. Okay. Ash Ren no longer causes socket gems. Added fire damage. Increased physical damage with ranged weapons. Okay, Beast Fury Shawl, I don't remember that. The Bitter Dream, we saw that one already. Replica Bitter Dream. Unique Scepter now causes socketed gems to support level 15 Immolate. So it's 15, level 15. Immolate, Unbound Ailments, Ice Bite, Inspiration, and Innervate. So it just depends on what you want. You can either do Hypothermia, Ice Bite, Cold Pen added cold damage, or Immolate, Unbound Ailments, Ice Bite, Inspiration, and Innervate. Interesting. This one seems more focused on ice. So I don't know why you'd want to do this one. Blackheart is no longer global physical or life. Okay. Now adds 10 to 15, 25, 25 chaos damage to attacks. Causes you to regenerate 10 to 15% of your life per second. That's kind of a nerf. The unique amulet now requires level 5, previous level 20. Okay. Bramblejack no longer does to add 2 to 4 physical, now has minus 10 to minus 15 taken. Oh, that's pretty good. Plus more max life and 1,000% of melee physical damage taken reflected to attacker. 1,000%? What? That's crazy. 1,000% of melee physical? That's crazy. What? Is that actually gonna be a good body armor now? I don't know. 1,000%? Hmm. This is gonna totally change the game. It's the Wild West here, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. Bringer of Rain, unique helmet now has socketed gems. By level me 30 melee physical damage. Faster attacks, previous, wow. And blind, that's crazy. Brisk Wrap. That's cool. So they spoiled Chalice of Horror Shield. Now it's 20% chance to block back damage. So they buffed a lot of the uniques to offset a lot of the armor, like a lot of the nerfs. That's interesting. Cloak of Flame they did before. For each nearby corpse, 1% increased movement speed for each nearby corpse regenerate 8 life per second. Okay. You make stuff follow you and then kill it in the same area. That's what they want you to do. Socketed gems are supported by level 29 added chaos. Dang, they are buffing these gem levels. Thorns. Hmm. Sorry, has courage. No longer has to increase global physical damage. Instead, 200 to 250% increase armor and evasion. 20-30% to all elemental resistances, and 100% chance to block attack damage if you've blocked spell damage recently. 100% chance to block spell damage if you've blocked attack damage recently. That's... Wow! That's gonna be a really good, unique shield. 100% chance to block... Because if you're getting hit by spell and... If you're getting hit by both, then you just have 100% chance to block both. Or if you've blocked both, that's pretty cool. 100% increase onslaught effect automatically. 2% of fizz. Leech just life. Death. Oh, that's awesome. Death Harp now fires 2 additional arrows. Death Rush has been redesigned, no longer has any of its old properties. Now has 5% of life on kill and gain adrenaline for 3 seconds on kill. The adrenaline is cool. Life is kind of meh. Deerstalker is... Socket gems are supported by level 15 trap. And existing versions... Okay, that's it. So they just took the life off, and that's a nerf. Adds... Now causes skills which exert an attack to have 20 to 30% chance to count... Not to count that attack. Huh. That's kind of cool. That's Teodra's unique ring. Scorn Doomfletch. It has gain 100% of weapon physical damage. Each element. Holy cow. That's a good. Yeah, these are all seem pretty interesting now. Ephemeral Edge unique sword. See, yeah, like that. That's gonna be maybe good. God, doing the filters is gonna be because all the uniques have changed their position, so filters are gonna be hard. Ends at my peak. Unique helmet no longer grants 20% increased global physical damage. Unwavering stance, nice. And increased area of effect, and more armor. There's Tricorn. You can be touched by tormented spirits? What? I don't know what that means. I'm just going over the ones that I actually know. Replica Heartbreaker, Heat Shiver, Highwayman Ring. Okay. Now it has 1% of damage leeches life and 5% increased movement speed. 100% chance. Okay, so you can steal for its charges. Imsara, they kind of went over. Ice Tome, unique body armor. 20% chance to freeze enemies. Okay. Mortal Flesh. Regenerates more life. Calm Sign. Grants level 10 Enduring Cry. That's cool. That's nice. I like that. The magnet I changed, yeah, okay. Magnor's Girdle. More damage to attacks. Cool. 100% increased knockback. When he hits with strike skills, always knock back, and melee skills deal splash damage to surrounding targets. So you can like hit people with the Manganord's Vice now, and they'll just rock back from you. Goku's Embrace they did. Prisma Weave is 6 to 15 to all elemental resistances, and automatically adds a bunch of stuff to attacks. So this is going to be really good early on. I think I have those, but I'm not sure. Vault's Crest, unique ring, no longer increased damage. Trigger level 10, summon Spectral Wolf on kill. Okay. Prime Gaze. Ooh, that's gonna be much better for that's gonna be a much better unique. I think the more max the it'll be this will let Righteous Fires go pretty late into the end game. Spring Leaf. Regenerate life per second automatically. More life on low life. 80% reduced freeze duration. Not bad. Pure Purity, lower level, and more attributes and elemental resistances. Nice. Thieves' Torment. Even better for resistances. Very nice. Thousand Ribbons they spoiled already. Thunderfist unique gloves. Supported by level 30 added lightning damage. Okay. Worm's Molt. Level requirement of 41. Okay, so they buffed Worm's Molt. Physical attack damage, leeches, life modifiers now values at 2%. Okay, and now has 50 to 100% increase. 500 to 1,000% increased total recovery per second from leech. That's pretty cool. Now also provides more cold resistance. Huh. Interesting changes. Wow, that lightning strike nerf. I'm surprised they didn't just put it in its own special thing with lightning strike, but you know, that's what GGG does sometimes. Interesting. Trailer content reveal.
Comes next league.
Okay. Patch notes, supporter packs. Okay, so that's just all to the releases in a week. Cool. I don't know. Pretty awesome. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'm not sure what to do now. I'm not sure what to build. I still want to do geez, yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure what to do. Well, let's let's go. Let's do some let's just run some maps, I guess, for now. Um Start some music here. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, man, or guys or gals or whoever is watching, I'm just so like mind blown. This is going to be a great league for new players to start. A lot of the stuff is going to be really fresh. A lot of the stuff is tradable currencies. They toned down the difficulty of a lot of the arch nemesis mobs. I think it's a pretty good league to start. So whoever was wondering if this was a good league for you guys to start, this is a good one. I think so. Let me go. Okay. You want your Skelly Mage damage back. Well, hey, Gotti, it might be even better. Here's the thing, with all the changes to items and stuff, you might be able to even get better Skelly Mages. Like, it's not going to be as easy in the beginning, but then they gave you a bunch of other stuff at the end game, so, yeah, it'll just be like everybody else. Plus, they made all the arch nemesis monsters much more manageable, especially in the campaign. So it'll be much easier for people to get through the campaign. Your time through the campaign is going to be way better than it was this league. I'm kind of excited. I really like that idea about making your own maps too. That's going to be really cool. Plus, depending on how good those reflected rings are, you might get some really good stuff early on. It might be worth it to actually do the league content in the league, because it will take a little bit longer to get to maps, but you'll be gaining extra experience and possibly better items, so you can skip harder content. Skip through the harder content. So yeah, Gotti, I think it's probably gonna be not as bad as you think. Because you have so many more items. You've got shields that have minion modifiers on them. You've got lower level wands you can use with minion modifiers, rings with minion modifiers. Still have helmets with minion modifiers. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to do more crafting, but being able to get boss items is kind of what this game is about. So I totally understand why they did that change. It makes sense. Besides, other people, you're going to be able to do, you could do Skelly Mages as something other than a Necro now, too. You can do, there's, you know, minion buffs that you can do with, what's that? Battle Mage. Hetrophant? The... Guardian, yes, Guardian. You can do occultists, yeah. You'll be able to do Guardian, and heck, you might even be able to do stuff like with other ascendancies, like depending on your gear, like making minions with slam builds and stuff like that, because there's General's Cry. So totally buff out General's Cry, do a War Cry Chieftain with minion builds. That'd be sweet. Warcry Chieftain with all the new, because they've buffed Warcry stuff too. That might be cool. Where you're like attacking as well as your minions, just doing tons of damage. Interesting. Interesting ideas. I think this was the... Yeah, I'm just gonna grind maps here a little bit and just kind of try to think about what just happened. What was that? What did we just witness? Crazy new things happening. Come on, run out. 210, there we go. Let's give me all the stuff. Gems dropped. Sure, why not? Basic items. The divination changes alone are just going to be, and the harvest changes, that's going to be so awesome. Like, I like a lot of the stuff that they did, especially toning down the Arch Nemesis mods during the campaign. That's just because the game should scale in difficulty as you get to higher level maps, right? So it's kind of how they were supposed to be designed. Now, Gotti, if I recall correctly, this is the first time you've played, and you said that you had just gotten to maps the last time you were here. Are you still doing? Are you doing maps still? Are you trying that out? Are you stalling? Do you need some help figuring stuff out? There. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of race through, get some buffs, go kill this boss. Yeah, okay. What tier maps have you done so far? Have you gotten to? Yeah, I just don't know what to do. Anybody? I wonder what everybody else is thinking. I'm gonna do some one guy that was like, oh, Gucci goo, newbie here, have 2x. Yeah, Yeah, 2x is pretty good. Yeah, you can upgrade a lot of stuff in early maps for 2x. Yep. What am I doing? All this stuff to proc. Oh, yeah. Come on. Too fast. There we go. That's pretty good, yeah. Plus 2 minions, plus 2 to minions, plus 20 minion damage. It's nice. Yeah. But I mean, imagine like this. I don't know. Oh, that's actually not a bad one. That's a Spectre's. I think that's a good. It's a good gem. But like all the uniques and stuff, and the uniques getting duplicated are going to be more valuable for the altars here in the endgame maps. Oh, that's terrible. Waste of space. Yeah, I'm really just not sure what to do though. Ray zombie, minion life, meat shield. I think. What's the one that people? I think people usually use Stone Golem or Spectre. I think if you're Spectre is probably better if you have the right one. Stone Golem is easier though. It's just a easier thing to use. But I don't know if that's correct. Wouldn't you want to use more things to support your zombie? Minion life, meat shield. Oh, these are your more defensive things. So probably Stone Golem, because that'll make everything beefier. If that's what you're using that for. I'm not sure though. I'm not a minions expert. I've never made minions in Path of Exile. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. And 2 heaping spoonfuls of I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, so then Stone Golem would probably be better. If that's all you're using it for. I'm not sure if that's the correct thing to use it for or not. Ah! Come on, empower things. Duplicate my maps. Do basic currency. Yes, that makes sense. As I say, I'm not sure if that's the correct thing to do. Frickin'... Because, you know, in Path of Exile, it's not always as clear as it seems. So uncertain. Champion Lightning Strike seemed like such the easy, just like, oh, I'll just do the Lightning Strike again. That's, you know, it's the best. I didn't nerf it. It's gonna probably be something with elusive effect, obviously, but unless, wait, did they nerf that too? Oh, maybe they nerfed elusive effects too. Oh, wait, I'm gonna check out. Maybe that was a bug too. Just checking. Checking to see if they nerfed elusive effect. One shall buff effect enchant. Okay, no, it doesn't look like they. So it looks like the elusive effect is not nerfed. So what does that mean? I'm uncertain. Boy, hard choices. Really got to think about that. I don't know. I think Gotti, you know enough about minion builds now that it's probably going to be more beneficial for you just to stick with that, because they're reworking everything, so nobody really knows what's going on except for, you know, you can stay Necromancer or, you know, do Occultist and then still pretty much do a similar thing to what you're doing already. Just focus a bit more on getting those items. Wow, this was nearly as crazy as what they revealed in the In the 1 year change, these must be Sentinel or Assassin. No, there's another +2 to socketed minion gems. Ah! They didn't really do anything about the ground effects, so they feel like those are in a good place, I guess. I'm gonna have to do the numbered crunches on the energy blade with all the lightning stuff that they introduced, because that might just be the way to go. Spark spiders also probably pretty good. Around too much. Man, yeah, I'm just sort of bewildered. There's gonna be so many uniques. There's gonna be so many different ways of making currency. Very good direction for the game. Much more positive about this this league than Sentinel, the new league. Much more positive feeling about the league. Because this was awful, this league. Having to keep so many wasted one portal. Having to keep so many items, like spaces. It's just, ugh. It's just a clunky mechanic. It's just a really clunky mechanic. Sentinel. So, I was not the biggest fan. Whoa! Okay, had to start killing stuff. Oh, that's interesting. They're both gone. I don't think that's happened to me this league yet, where both of my sentinels at the same time decided to not work. That's interesting. Yeah. Had to happen sometime, right? This is a terrible map. Yeah, sure. Yeah, not doing the best of Sentinels, but it's okay. Yeah, see, like all these rare monsters showing up on the map, probably not gonna happen next week. Definitely gonna want to do essences though, because the rewards are gonna be much better. So essences are gonna be really good. That's why they probably toned it down to 2 instead of 3. Because not only are you gonna get the essence rewards, but you're also gonna get whatever their multiplicative effect is from being rare monsters, whatever their other mods are. So probably do essences again for the main money making in the beginning of maps. But boy, I'm not sure. Spectral Helix might just be better than Lightning Strike now. At least as good. I don't know about that. Maybe not. I wonder if James is interested in playing. That'd be kind of cool. Ooh, almost went for a Dominator there. Yeah, I'm just doing this because sometimes I like to play. If I really does, if the league doesn't really look good, then I like to play on my normal account. And so I like to, you know, store up all the unique stuff from the league if I can. And plus, it's just helping me kind of mind-numbingly think about what the heck is going on. I'll probably end this stream a little bit early today because I started very early. I'm probably going to end it after I finish this cycle of things. But I'm still thinking of Champion as being probably the best starter. I'll have to look at Trickster a bit more, but because sometimes, you know, when they do those new things, they kind of overtune it so that it's, you know, quite a bit stronger than it probably should be. So that might be the way to go if I can, you know, figure out the right skills to go with. Yeah, I'll really have to look at that. But I'll let you guys know probably around Monday what I'm thinking of going for League Start, and yeah, it'll be fun. I'm going on vacation this next week, going to the mountains. So after Monday, I'll do some stuff at home and then head out, go into the mountains with the family, get away from the heat of the city, have a good old time. Honestly, not sure. I live in Taiwan, so there's a bunch of different mountains you can go to. But I don't A, know how to pronounce the names correctly, and B, am not driving. My wife's dad is driving us. So but it's really nice. Very nice. Taiwan, yes. If you haven't heard about it in the news lately, it's a small island off the coast of China. Well, it's not that small, but it is an island off the coast of China. Yeah, I moved here about 6 years ago now, almost 7 years. Yeah. Yes, I am not Asian. I am American with a Spanish and English and maybe Scottish or Irish background, and who knows what else? Not sure. I've gotten so many raw exalt drops this league, it's just insane. Oh. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. That's sad. I was getting close too. Man. Those ground effects, they just destroy you. Like, So fast. Just don't understand what the heck they are thinking with the ground effects. Five more maps to go. I might gain that 10 experience back, 10% experience back. We'll see. Oh, gonna be spicy. Gonna be a spicy one. Huh. Oh gosh. There we go. Oh dear. Definitely a spicy one. And away I go. Oh dear. What? Get out of there. Oof. Don't hit me. Sorry, yeah, this map is very intense. These delirium maps can get pretty crazy. Especially they're dropping all these lightning effects on the ground and stuff. Okay, oof. Pretty much it. So, you're as German as it gets. Oh, yeah, German's a pretty fancy background, actually. German has a lot in common with English. What's wrong with being German? Is it boring to you? I suppose it's like meeting somebody, you know, from Spain, so like everybody around them is Spanish, so it's nothing unique there, right? Doesn't sound unique to them, probably. Hey, Taniro, how you doing? Red flagging everyone. I see. I am currently just contemplating what my life is going to be like in the new expansion. I am so lost as to what I want to do. There's a lot of options open, and a lot of avenues closed. Lightning Strike got a huge nerf, so cannot do Lightning Strike Champion, which is what I was going to initially do. Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really good league, I think. I agree. I think it's going to be a super good league. Lots of currency. They fixed a lot of the issues with a lot of the different things. So many monsters here. Ouch. Paused for too long. Too much pack size. Oh, that's kind of fun. Yeah, that's going to be a real good time, I think. It's a good time to do it. There's so many things shifting around, too. That it'll be fun for multiplayer, especially with all the different changes going on with ascendancies and uniques. You guys will be able to do a lot of experimentation, probably. Is your guild pretty hardcore? Do they have people on all the time doing stuff, or is it just you and a group of your friends? Ah, okay. Oh, so laggy. Oh god. Oh god. You got a Mage Blood and 300 plus X in 5 days. That's solid. Two and 600. That's even better. Wow. So that's as a group. You got two Mage Bloods and 600. Ah, that's how. Oh, okay. Wow. That's pretty good. So you've got like one of you is the damage dealer, the MFer, and the other one is the buffer, right? What is it? The Orabot? Orabot slash first bot. Cool. Yeah, that's one thing that they did that I think it's going to be a bit more difficult for smaller groups of people is the that aura reservation efficiency nerf is going to hit you guys pretty hard. Like, you'll be able to get around it, but for smaller groups, it's going to be harder than for bigger ones, just because they can kind of make it up with multiple players. But for smaller groups, it's pretty hard, I would think. Yeah, but the benefit also is that technically speaking, divines and exalts are going to be the same, so you're going to be getting more. You'll be getting more currency. Because the drops are going to be equal. Their drops are, they said, were equalized anyways. So every time that you would like drop a raw divine this league, that will count also as being an exalt for next league. So yeah, I'm not sure about that change. Yeah. 1,800 divines. Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, they're gonna be more expensive now. That's for sure. I should take a look. See how many divines I have. Why did I pick that up? Yeah, I'm just not sure. Because really, who slams their gear anymore? Like, sometimes you do a YOLO slam, but for the most part, people just use it for trading. The reason people use exalts for trading, and the reason why they're so much more valuable, is because how much of them are burned through crafting. So yeah, I could also see the same thing. Yeah, that's the thing. So and there's no more, they changed it so there's no more exalted crafting recipes. Right? If there's still some exalted crafted recipes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think for the, yeah, like there's still some, like the increased physical damage, increased spell damage, right? But the Metacraft, yeah, the Metacraft mods use divines. So I'm not sure. It'll be interesting. The market is going to be interesting, that's for sure. I think the problem is that a lot of these that use exalts are like, they're not, like, people use them if they have to, but they're not what they aim for with the crafting. And now that crafting is easier, people probably aren't going to use these. Yeah. So yeah. Mage Blood, ooh. Mage Bloods are gonna be expensive. Mage Bloods are gonna be real expensive. Getting that, because they're basically almost useless unless you get the 4 slot. So the four flask Mage Bloods are gonna be very, very valuable now. No. They took all the divine stuff out of Harvestcraft. So yeah, that stuff's all gone now. They changed it. Oh, whoa. What happened? Something hit me. Yep. Something does a bunch of damage to me on this map. Not sure what it is. Yeah, Scourge. Just Scourge. It's just Scourge. It's not Beyond anymore. They took out Beyond and now it's Scourge. It's a natural fit though, like Scourge with Beyond was so ridiculous and fun, and it kind of just it fits the theme of Beyond. Yeah. I'm most happy about what they did with the Harvestcraft stuff. I think that's just gonna be so much more valuable. The only thing they need to figure out now is how to do the I think they really need to change the what is it? The betrayal system, because it's got the same problem, and they could fix it so easily by just changing it so you can have all of that stuff in a item like how they do the Val temples. Yeah, exactly. Ah, freaking ground. Yeah, the last one wasn't so good. I wasn't so hyped on Sentinel. It's an okay league. I think it's definitely got a lot of currency value. I just think that the rollout with the Arch Nemesis mods was so bad. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. That's crazy. What happened? I need to kill this guy too. Yeah, they made them too big. They're 2x2s, which was really annoying. And the crafting of them was super annoying also. Doing the crafting for the recombinators was super cool, but yeah, the Atlas passive endgame was awesome. That addition. There we go. Oh, that one was so dangerous. Anyways, so I lost like 30% of my experience today. That's okay. Cool stuff. I like how they've made it so that right before recombinators go into the base game that they can't do mirrored items. that was clutch. Clutch GGG. I also like the new memories end game stuff. Yeah. So in standard play, they're not going to be able to do mirrored items. Yeah. Mirrored items are too powerful. People will not be able to do the. Because I mean, you can just if the gamble. Yeah. That's the thing is if the gamble doesn't work, they can just a lot of the standard players have so many mirrors, right? They can just mirror the item again and try for the gamble again, and it can be almost deterministic. So they had to get rid of that, I think, before it hit standard, just because of how it built itself up. I mean, they could just make all the mirrored tier items and weave them together perfectly, constantly. So, I mean, it might take them, 250 mirrors to do, but, when they have thousands of them, it's probably, they're like, get the new pinnacle tier item in the game. And then they can also start mirroring that item, right? So they had to nerf that. I can see why. Oh, sure. I didn't really make anything good. I mostly just sold mine, so. Right now, here, it's, Lady _ Goroki. Hello! Oh, that's a mighty big righteous fire aura you got going on there. Holy bejesus. Oh, nice. That's got Vol righteous fire, right? Wow, that must be really, really... Wow. That's a really good chest. You didn't want to risk the craft on a slam, huh? Tab. Press tab on it. Oh. Oh, alt. Yeah, alt. Uh-huh. Elevated warlords, elevated crusaders. That's hilarious. Elevated warlords, elevated crusaders. Tier 1. Everything. That's awesome. Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. And you didn't want to do the Mastercraft, you didn't want to try to get the slam on it. You could have. Anomalous Vol, Righteous Fire. Yeah, wait, what does the anomalous version give you? Oh, increased burning damage. Increased area of effect. Oh, okay. Increased area of effects. That's good to know. I should probably change that on my standard Righteous Fire character. AoE is so huge, man. Oh my gosh. It's clutch. You're using a staff. Spell, fire spell, Malevolence. Yeah, Malevolence has 52% increased aura effect. Is awesome. Dot multi, increased damage and ignite. And it's only a tier 2. Oh, wow. Oh, did you sell it, or? Yeah. Did they go poof? Yeah, too bad. These are some good... So you like Righteous Fire then, huh? Yeah, just standard. Increased mana reservation efficiency. Cool. Balanced Guard. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, you don't have any fire dot multi on your rings, though. Too bad. Pretty good, though. Yeah, they're okay. They're not bad. So do you think you're going to do RF for the next league? No? Okay. Yeah, I know. Same position. It could do RF. I mean, it didn't really get any nerfs or buffs, but yeah, that's the problem. Is they nerfed all the boss killers, so it's kind of open season. I think probably Traps is still going to be the best one, but not sure. Because they did that buff, they Detonate Dead is nerfed. Like, you can't do Detonate Dead. And Traps might be, because they took... It looks like they took something around 30 or 40%. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed, agreed. Well, thank you, Tenero, for showing your stuff today. And thanks, Gotti, for coming in and watching, having a little chat. I'm gonna sign off now. If you liked, please like, follow, and subscribe for more content. Yeah, I've got to get going. It's noon here, so... Oh, yes, thank you for following, Tenero. Thanks. Yeah, so I'm gonna head out, but I'll probably be on a little bit more this weekend, playing around, and I'll see you guys in a couple of days. So, yeah, thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.